Yeah! Scores! Scores! On the far side! It's hammered in off the rebound! Yanni Gord, the overtime hero here in Game 1, and the Seattle Kraken take a 1-0 series lead.
Here is D'Angelo Russell to the rim, puts it up and in. Lakers by 2.
Brunson steps right for 3. Rattled it home. Steps right of another screen by Isaiah Hartenstein.
Hartenstein's got fingerprints on all the plays, the big plays, doing the dirty blue-collar work.
The 0-1 to Freeman is a high fly ball to right. Castellanos going back. He looks up, and it is gone. Double digits for the Dodgers tonight. A 2-run shot for Freeman. It is 10-1 Dodgers.
Swinging a base hit to left, and the White Sox have won consecutive games for the first time this season, and they gain a game on the first-place Twins.
Hey, good morning. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, we're happy to have you with us. And we are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club Wednesday. And the sun is out, and it's already starting to be a fantastic day. What's going on, DB?
Sun is out, freezing cold. That's how we already know
When
it's real. Try so hard. Something.
Something, do it for Louisville.
Yeah. You like Drake?
I tried to show him.
Oh, you actually knew that. That's couple in a row.
I try. See, I know bits and pieces. Like I was telling you yesterday, I don't know the full song. And it was even when we said, it was like, my name is Ho, A, H to the O-V. And you said it's V, but I would have said D.
Yeah.
But that's because I don't know every song.
Hey, so, yeah, it's cool. This is the last day, hopefully, that I can turn the system off in the house. I've been flirting with wanting to turn the heat on because at night, I mean, in the house, it can get down to like 60, 61.
No wonder Micah wants to sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Because he's in the basement, too.
You used to let me sleep on the couch. One of the greatest diss tracks of all time was Tupac, Hit 'Em Up. And he was clowning Biggie. He was like, yeah, I remember when I used to let you sleep on my couch. But you can only say like every 3 words in that song. So there's a lot of songs like that. I won't be singing that song, but it is the greatest diss track of all time.
I know what I'm listening to on the way home.
It's unbelievable. But you kind of have to know the backstory, the switching of the record labels, going from West Coast to East Coast, Bad Boy. He's mad at Biggie, doesn't like Puff, and he just goes all.
You just gave me the Spark Notes version.
I'm
good.
Listen, all in.
Gosh,
I don't even think you can't even do that anymore.
Do you remember when Eminem went all in on MGK the other year?
Eminem is. I would leave Eminem alone. He'll get you.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, ask Mariah Carey. she should have. So Pac was the greatest since probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Pusha T got Drake pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
And Drake kind of waved the white flag because Pusha T went there. He said, you still got the smell of the stench on her. Yeah.
I don't know why people try to like take shots at other people. You know you have just as much baggage.
Yeah, right. It's just what you're willing to say and come up with in the studio. But as I'm looking at LeBron wearing his best old people's curtain.
His PK Subban attire?
Yeah, so that looked like something that Sanford and Son would have had at the house. Because, they sold junk. Did you ever watch Sanford and Son?
No, but I know.
It's old.
I can imagine.
So, yeah. So, Fred.
He's wearing my grandma's curtains.
That looked like something that Lamont or Fred would have worn. I don't know why he does that, but I think he thinks it's cute, but it's significant. He walked in
with a glass of wine one time.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's for his headaches.
It helps with
a glass of red wine, man. Headaches and heart issues.
See, I use Zipline for mine.
That's what. Okay, let's get it started then. Our 6-pack of questions. No, but see, the Lakers heard me talking to Robbie last week about how I was not all in on them against Golden State. So they're like, oh, okay. Good job. Sell out.
I listen to Omaha Sports Radio every morning.
Yeah, like, okay.
I'll prove you wrong.
That's fine. You know, I hear what you said about my man D'Angelo Russell. And
hey, I knew AD was going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, he's been balling.
It.
That's why I was like, you know, quietly, man, he's had a nice little run, and he played 44 minutes.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, that's a fair amount. So, you know, I was pretty happy. And they're up. They had the big second and third quarters.
They almost blew it.
Yeah. Well, they had just enough cushion for the pushing.
Well, yeah, they had you feeling uncomfortable though.
Yeah.
Late in that game, especially because Golden State couldn't miss for the longest time, and really good defense by the Lakers too. They were forcing tough shots, and GSW was just putting them in.
So for Golden State's going to look at that and say we can't have 30-point quarters.
No.
And they gave up 2. So I think the Lakers had 36 in the second and 31 or 33 in the third, and that'll do it because they held Los Angeles to 21 in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you score only 21 points a quarter. Obviously, even I can do this math, Jamie. You're on pace for 84 points. I don't even have to carry anything. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Just circle the number.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Just 21 times 4. 21. Can you do something for me?
Another good song.
Yeah. I'll quit with the music.
No, you won't.
But I have to do my own thing because this whole licensing thing, it's peeving me off. Can't recreate the show and use live music.
Nope.
Why? What are these things called royalties? Who cares? Royalty.
Who's royal?
Royalty. Didn't she sing that song? Shane, who was the little girl that sang that song? And we will be. Was
and
it
I'll
Royals?
never be royal.
Yeah, it was Royals, right?
Yeah.
What was that little girl's name?
I don't know.
Oh, I do know.
Whatever. It's all music all the time, these first 5 minutes. And a zipline reference. So shout out to you. Shane was lamenting about Darcy 7 minutes before the show. So that's fine too. Darcy.
I almost went there. I let you go there first.
One of those people. He blamed it on the fact that he'd seen a Marcy in the grocery store. And I'm like, man, is she on your mind all the time? Ooh, it's okay.
What aisle were you in, Shane, when you saw Marcy?
I don't remember.
Hygiene. Looking for some hairspray. Some hold for his bouncing and behaving hair.
Well, he wears a hat all the time. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but have you seen him take it off? It's whipped like butter under there.
Is it? Shane, take off your hat for me.
He won't do it because he's scared.
He's looking for a drop right now.
No, he probably is.
So you asked me the same question last year.
Yeah, there it is.
That's, again, still one of the greatest pressers ever. So it was a busy night. I slept horrible. I watched another 2 episodes of my show, Unforgettable. I don't even know why I watch it, except for now it's competitive. Because the whole premise is... Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, sure, kind of. I just wait and see.
You're not one to give up.
Well, the writers, and I mean, these guys are going to go on strike anyway, so I don't have to worry about any more bad writing. But I try to see what she sees real time at the crime scene, so I know if I'm paying attention. Because they're always in there. It's like a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah, like
you
an
skip ahead.
book.
You skip ahead to see, and then you go back and read and know which one you want to
analyze
pick.
The context clues.
Yeah. So it's so corny and so cheesy. I'm like hooked. But I've watched like 9 episodes in 2 nights.
Is that similar to when Limitless, the movie, tried to make Limitless the show?
I never saw it. Same premise?
Well, it was about like this guy that took this drug and then he could like.
She didn't take any drugs. She had a traumatizing situation as a child.
Everything in his brain would like connect, and now he's like the smartest man alive.
That unlocked her.
Yeah.
She can't control her emotions, but
wouldn't it be awesome?
That just makes her like a lot of other people.
Limitless, the TV show, much better than the movie.
Is it?
But I saw the TV show before I saw the movie.
See, I've only seen the show one episode of the show.
I've never seen
so I can't make that assessment. But wouldn't it be awesome to have a photographic memory?
Yes and no.
Ooh, why no?
Because as I've seen in this show, careful what you ask for. So that means you remember all the bad too.
Sure.
And she can't shake it. So sometimes she has like these episodes.
Man, I could have used a photographic memory in school though.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. Something. So full disclosure, if anything happens to me, because occasionally I'll get mad at this camera and the way it looks, so I'll just turn it off. But this time, what? I'm just keeping it real.
It makes me laugh.
When keeping it real goes wrong, what is this dude going to say today? You just never know. That's why we're glad you tune in. If I keel over and pass out, I'm strictly DNR. Let me be, like the Beatles, because the fumes in here are going to knock your boy out. This is like, I don't know, man. What's the stuff that the kids used to sniff that messed you all up as an adult?
Glue?
No. What was in the paint? Shane, it affects you too. What is it again? Lead? Yeah. I feel like
we sniffed lead.
It was on accident. They didn't know it was in the paint. I don't think you can do it anymore. But I feel like whatever they painted, I feel like whatever they painted this with, it's out to get me because I am nauseous as all get out.
I think it's just normal spray paint. My dad spray paints on the regular.
WWBD.
He is Mr. Spray Paint. He's
really?
Like, he goes and like takes something from my grandma's basement or find something at Goodwill or
I got some lawn furniture.
Dude, he will spray paint the heck out of it for you. And he would do it because he enjoys it.
Really?
Like
How is spray painting therapeutic?
Pulls out the blue tarp.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Shakes the can and you can hear that metal ball in there. Yep. And then just starts going to work. Every time we drive like home.
Is that pretty good?
We used to, pretty close.
Shout out to DB.
We would drive like down our subdivision into the driveway and he'd be spray painting on the side like further down the sidewalk, and it was just burying his natural habitat. Spray painting.
You say subdivision, I say block.
Yeah.
Oh, my block. Oh, my subdivision.
Yeah, my subdivision. Yeah. What does that say, DB? Where are you going with this?
Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
The only blocks I ever used were to build things in my basement.
Did they still have those when you were a kid?
Blocks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, maybe.
Were you a Tetris era guy or is that me?
Tetris, yes. We played Tetris on the computer.
Okay. So you understand.
And where else would you play Tetris?
Shapes and pieces and stuff.
Yes. And spinning them the right way and trying to get that line to disappear.
Have you seen the Shane? It's got you written all over it. There's a Netflix show, and I think it's actually called Tetris. It's about the guy. About the guy that developed it, and he's got to fight off the Russians trying to kill him for the secrets. Like and I think it's based on a true story. It's kind of deep, isn't it? Called Tetris.
Oh yeah, I've seen the ad for it.
And he takes it to Nintendo, and the guy's like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
seriously, and he's like the man, and everybody's out to get him. Yeah, that's it. I was like, maybe I should watch this. And then about 5 minutes.
So it's a doc. Is it a docu-series?
No, it's a. Why are you trying to distract me?
Sorry.
No.
You know, there's a lot of docu-series coming out right now.
Hey, time out over there, Pocket Hercules. Didn't you just pull it up?
I did.
Yeah, well, look and see what it says.
I don't know.
I just know it's a movie based on a true story. What's that called?
Well, if it's a movie, then it's not a series.
Well, it's not a. Well, I could have answered that. It's not a series. It's just a movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I did?
So it's probably like that new Nike movie, right? Just
Air.
Yeah, trying to.
That'd be correct. It'd probably be like that.
Listen, who are you, Siskel? Pipe down over there.
Not really.
Hey, this is how you call timeout now, right? Wasn't this LeBron last night? Whenever was it Schroeder had the ball and he's walking to the bench with one finger on his palm?
That would be Dennis Schroeder.
Schroeder, sorry.
Don't be calling him Charles Schroeder. That dude.
Did I say Schroeder? Charles? No, I didn't say. Oh, okay. You're just telling me to pronounce the last name. Like, did I call him Charles? I got there. I had a photographic memory. I just had to go back and make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
my listening.
It was a kind of an uneventful night. An uneventful night of playoffs. I did like
uneventful in NBA.
Well, yeah, it wasn't like If the Knicks would have lost that game, I probably would have. If I was a season ticket holder for the Knicks, I'd have walked out of the building because they had no bit
forever. That
hodgepodge team that Miami rolled out there, and then Strus got hurt. Like, I don't even know how they were scoring.
Well, Adebayo was mad about his performance.
Bam, bam.
Yep.
Bam, 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 bam.
I have seen the Flintstones.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You kind of remind me of Gazoo. The little green dude with the big head.
Oh, I thought you were going to try to compare me to the dinosaur.
Dino?
Maybe.
No, you speak English.
No.
I don't know what he was doing. And they understood him for some reason.
Adebayo came out after the game. He's like, oh, that was a horrible performance by me. And I was like, horrible? Like, I wouldn't really call it horrible. Like, I mean, you didn't play great, but I wouldn't like go to the extreme and be like, oh, we played horrible or I played horrible.
Pressure's on because they keep playing in front of A. Abron, who's been at the last 2 games.
Yes, he has.
And
he was at the Rangers game
ingraining himself to the New York fan base.
I think.
Is he spoken for? You never know with him.
Aaron?
Yeah, because if not, he's going to pick up a significant other here shortly. Because he's been out in public a lot. And
but he's kind of always been. I mean, remember when he was dating Woodley?
Who?
Shailene Woodley.
Oh.
Wasn't that the girl in Fault in Our Stars?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, let's just take a sec.
Come on, DB.
And then look at DB and go, does he have any idea what I would be talking about? Like just take a gander.
She was in Divergent.
Again, English, please.
Yeah.
No
way you saw Drift.
Yeah. No.
It's this girl, DB.
Who? Isn't she the holistic lady?
Holistic? I don't know.
Maybe the herbal medicine,
not
lady?
The arborist.
That's okay. You got jokes this morning. You and Shane will be locked in the room together.
Oh, it's all right. That's why you were sitting at the booth when I walked in, hiding.
Did you just hear me knocking on the window like a child?
Well, I thought you were outside. I thought you did your walk thing and forgot your key.
I wanted you guys to keep hearing the knocking and not knowing where it was coming from, but you opened the door so quick I couldn't duck.
Well, because I ran to the door. I'm like, oh, man, he's outside. And I can't see the front door over there. Then I thought, why didn't he go to this door?
Hey, so weird. Because of my voyeur type tendencies, I'm like the lady on Unforgettable. Do you know that I watched you try to figure out what was going on with your car and have to walk back outside?
Well, did you see the lights were still on when I walked in?
Yes.
And
you're like, are those going to go off?
Uh-huh. I stopped.
I want to know. It's weird.
And that's when I had to call Darcy.
Why were you watching it for so long? Like, why didn't you just go out there?
Well, so the lights stay on for like 5-6 seconds after I hit the lock button twice. So I sat there and I'm like, maybe it's a little delayed today.
Are you bothered that I was just staring and without you knowing?
No.
Okay, that's good.
I'm a big people watcher, so if I can do it, everybody else can do it.
Yeah. I'm just like off in the booth down there.
When you saw the lights were still on, though, did you think right away like he's gonna have to go back outside?
Yeah, I wanted to laugh, but I thought you could click it. But I saw you do something with your hand or something, and I was like, oh, he's gonna try to fix it. But then when it didn't go off, I was low key laughing. So when I was knocking on the window and I wanted you guys to see where I was, you came out so fast I couldn't duck behind the seat.
Yeah, I see you. You're sitting right here in the booth and you're looking at me and you're just like,
yeah, I was like, smile like busted.
Like
those are the kind of crime. Most people are just trying to figure out how to finish their lesson plans or get on their lawn equipment or build construction buildings. I'm over here playing games, knocking on windows.
Hey, speaking of your lawn guy, remember the guy you hooked me up with yesterday?
Yeah.
Adam is his name. And I'm going to give him a big
shout out to Boyce.
Big shout out to him because he came out and helped me like with the sprinkler system.
Yeah.
But boy, did I find out that sprinkler system was built in the 1940s.
Yeah.
Because
hey, don't be knocking my my man Dollar Bill.
No, this was before Bill.
Okay.
This was before the homeowners, before Bill.
So
the system was so old. He's like, man, I got to be honest with you. You probably just need a new irrigation system.
Oh, that's disheartening.
Uh-huh. He said, and he turned on the valves manually because we couldn't get the box to work downstairs. That's how old the system is. And the water started like spewing straight up out of the sprinkler and like almost like a fountain would.
Yeah.
And
did you think you were at old Shane? What's the place with the hot geysers and you can't put your face in it because it'll burn it off?
Oh, that Yellowstone?
Yeah, it's not one of those. I should have just said the popular TV show that everybody's mad about now.
Yeah, that too.
What happened? Did it jump the shark?
I like Yellowstone.
Do you?
But I only watch bits of. I don't watch it regularly.
So guess how I've watched Yellowstone.
How?
TikTok. Because
on my clips.
Yeah. So I told you, and you'll see because you'll see me watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I have this thing now where I just get versions of movies, which is how I got started on Sons of Anarchy. So however long the clip lasts, and everybody in the comments, it's funny. It's like
that's Facebook Watch for me.
Hey, what episode? What? Oh, that's back when Rip was tough. Or why don't they kill Casey? Or I just can remember all the stuff that they're saying.
Because it's like what, a minute and a half max.
For some it's different, but that's how I feel like I know what's going on.
Sure.
I think a couple of ladies that like one was gonna like beat her kid at the shopping mall, and the lady called her a bad parent, and then I guess the lady's pretty tough on the show. She like talked reckless to the lady that was in the store, and that was the lady you don't mess with. And I saw some lady get hit with a Zipline bottle in a bar for talking to somebody's husband.
Nice.
I think it was Rip's husband.
Did it hurt?
Rip's wife. Rip appears to be a tough guy on that show. He's in a lot of the clips doing bad things to people.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of tough guys on that show.
So
like just total BAs.
I'm not going to watch it, right? But is Casey a chump? Because it always seems like he's bailing him out in these clips. Now, I've only seen about 30.
A little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to know. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Is
it? It's kind of like a cool, like family oriented, like the family. Like,
but
if you're
I heard
not
it was violent.
It is, but I'm saying like the family sticks together in the show.
Oh, that's cool.
So
the
like,
family that kills together stays together.
Exactly.
So like some Gotti type stuff, or?
Maybe something similar.
Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Although he whacked his own family sometimes, so sometimes that's got to happen.
No, you thought I was tough. This jump will kill you.
Oh, what's up, Apollo? Good morning. R.I.P.
Should we go to the phone? I know this guy can last maybe 1 minute with his.
Who we have? I can't see.
We have out of breath Brian here with us.
Oh yeah, let's talk
to Brian. Brian, thanks for sticking around for the majority of the first segment. Let's talk the Lakers.
Yes, sir. How you doing, fellas?
What's up, buddy?
I had to call in there because I got into a little conversation with your substitute host, Robbie.
Oh yeah, they went round and round.
He had the nerve to post the amount of free throws, the difference in free throws between the two teams. I had to point out to him the amount of 3-pointers shot by a team and compare it to the amount of 3-pointers missed between the two teams. Florida State took 53 3-pointers and missed 32.
Yeah, they were 21 of 53 from behind the arc.
And the Lakers took 25 and missed 19 3-pointers. So he thought that with that, just because they took half the amount of 3-pointers that Golden State did, the Lakers that is, that Golden State still should have shot half the amount or just half the amount of the free throws that the Lakers shot.
They weren't even getting in the paint. They weren't even getting in the paint.
No, they weren't. You can't call fouls. You're not going to call that many fouls on the perimeter. And they were. I'll give them credit. They were calling hand checks, grabbing all out there on the perimeter. And the Lakers stopped doing it. If the Golden State just don't have an answer for the Lakers inside.
The Lakers defense was
Golden State fans, I had to let you know that makes it 4 in a row. That means we even beat y'all with Westbrook.
One thing I love about Ravi with NBA, he will hold his ground, man.
Ravi. Y'all ain't winning this series. Y'all not. I'm so sorry for you. All right.
Thank you, B. The real Siskel and Ebert is on hold. We'll come back to him after break.
That interior defense, though, is phenomenal.
Yeah. They averaged over 8 blocks a game against the Queens.
Oh, the Queens.
Kings, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I had the TV show.
It's not Sacramento Queens.
I had TV shows on the brain. Wyatt, stay right there.
Yeah, let's talk more. Coffee and Cream. Stick around here on Hail Varsity Radio.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, hey, hey. It's Fat Albert. We're talking TV shows.
You ready?
Hey, hey, hey. What you got to say?
There it is.
Hey, Mudfoot. You know what we're here for? Lay some treats on us.
I just
not bad. Not bad.
Listen, man, it's been a long couple of weeks, man. Your boy is, and I'm fumed out.
You're also in your sweatsuit today. I just realized.
It's not matching, so don't get off. Hey, get off me. Listen,
the color scheme. I now see the sunlight coming in.
Don't be that dude. I ain't wearing a matching jumpsuit now. Okay.
Although I see the stripes up the arms, the stripes down the pant legs.
You're fired. I remember we used to be friends a couple minutes ago. That was cool.
I kind of like it.
No.
You give a dad look.
Oh, no, you didn't.
You're a dad. It's fine.
I can't stand you.
You're over here running outside like in one place.
By the way, I made the mistake of squatting just to be showing off. Yesterday.
With weight or without?
Oh, there was 2 wheels and a quarter. We were at the 118 my buddy's building, and kids were in there trying to sneak a workout in on the day off, and it was just up there. So I was like, knocked out a quick 6.
How quickly did you tighten up?
No, so it was cool, right?
Okay.
Now I was teaching Mike how to jump rope, and I got a little lightheaded. So I was like, dang, either I'm way out of shape or I ain't been eating enough or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to go get in the shower today because you kind of have to step over.
Oh, you felt it?
A little, right? Mm-hmm. It was like right down the middle of both quads.
Yeah, I did leg day on Monday, and I feel it in my hammies still.
Yeah. See, once I teach you how to do it correctly, your hammies will not bother you.
Well, so I hadn't done leg day in a while. because like I had just like re-entered the gym after a good period of time. Cause like I go in spurts and that's kind of, I'm trying to get consistent with it. But when I did CrossFit, I had to learn form.
Did you?
Because you were moving so quickly that if you don't do the form correctly,
weird story,
you'll get hurt.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So Elliott Brown, Husker Elliott Brown was at Metro Track watching his little sister high jump. So it just happened to be in front of Westside's tent. So I was down there and people were commenting on Christian Jones' frame, right? Because he looks fantastic. So we're just chopping it up. And Tristan Alvano comes over, and who, by the way, looks fantastic. He's
my infatuation for Tristan Alvano is like my infatuation for Cameron Meyer.
So we're just talking, and you know me, I don't give a what. I was like, because Elliott had on like short shorts, and he's got very good definition in his right above the like knee area and the quads. He's got good definition. So because they teach you to lift around the knee to build up the ability to withstand. So I was like, Elliott, come here. This is going to sound real weird. Just flex real quick. Just go with this here. He's like, what? Like, do it. I said, hey, guys.
You're poking him with a stick. Do it.
I did tap his thigh. It was the strangest thing ever. His mom's probably mortified. She's like, what is this grown man doing? But it's a good thing we're all family, right? So I'm like, hey, these are the muscles these are the kind of muscles you want. Right? You don't want to worry about, knee injury. It's not a preventative, but it's whatever. And so I'm sure people are looking around at us, and Tristan goes, hey, how do my legs? I put on about 12 or 13 pounds, man. I feel good. I'm like, this dude is good. And then Christian Jones goes out and runs like a 10-9 100.
Is that fast?
For a 200-pounder? It's pretty good. He is bound and determined to win his little narrow behind the job. Like, that dude is going down there with the frame of mind to win.
Tristan?
Yes. He is so competitive.
I love that. Husker fans will get excited about that. And plus, he was on both of our Super 6 rankings. He was on other people's Super 6 rankings. People don't forget about Tristan Alvano.
No, they don't. Don't forget about television. Now, full disclosure, before we talk to Wyatt, if he brings up a show that I recommended that I didn't know didn't finish the second season and you had to pay for it, don't listen.
Okay. Sounds good.
It's a total accident.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, Wyatt, welcome. What's the show that DB's referring to?
I don't know.
What's up, Wyatt?
Hey.
Good morning, Wyatt.
I can't hear what you guys are saying while I'm on hold, so I'm probably way off topic now.
No. We're talking TV shows.
Yeah, I was just kidding.
I told him if you bring up some old show that didn't finish season 2, don't listen.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear that.
I said, if you bring up some show that I recommended that didn't end up finishing season 2, to have Andrew just ignore what you're saying.
It was actually season 3. That was terrible.
All right, I'm not listening.
Hey, how do you really feel though, Wyatt? I'm torn. What do you got?
Well, 2 things. First was, I'm a lead-based risk assessor, so if they're burning stuff, I hope that's not the case because
Wait a minute, is that what you really do?
It's part of what I do.
Oh yeah, you need to come on by Hail Varsity Club because as you can tell, if you're like, God, is he on drugs? No, there's fumes in the air. It's not me.
There are. I walked in and I smelled spray paint right away.
I'm sure you're fine, but yeah.
Hey, listen, you know me. I don't know if I am or not.
Good thing if it's lead, though. That's bad thing. But anyway, yeah, don't ever let Damon recommend a TV show to you because I got caught one time and it's that show where it was good for the first season, jumped the shark the second season, super jumped the shark the third season, and they didn't have it on Netflix where we actually had to order it on a European DVD. So I had to buy a separate DVD player just so we can watch this episode that had 80s jazz music on it, and it was crazy.
I would have hated the show too.
Wait, that was so long ago. I forgot the name of the show. It was a made-up town. What was the name of it?
Oh, it was Fortitude.
Fortitude.
Oh, see, it's burned into his memory.
God, it was so good. Season 1. I was like, you guys got to watch this. Hey, you want another bad recommendation? Oh, you got the cutie pies with you.
I think the kid wants it.
Hey, so Unforgettable is a horrible show, but it's what I try to do is do what she does because she can memorize crime scenes, and I'm totally hooked. I've watched 9 episodes in 2 nights.
Yeah, because so go back. I remember watching that like a real documentary series where somebody had like a memory with like that where they couldn't forget stuff, and they said it's not like you said, it's not a good thing because she's like, I can remember all of the painful memories, and it's as real as it was when it actually happened.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations for me? We got into Yellowstone. Everybody says it jumped the shark, so quit. But
yeah, and I need to watch that from start to finish. I can't watch it in spurts anymore.
My TV's watching it's a little bit lower, but other than what everybody else is watching, one that I really liked was on Amazon Prime called Undone.
Undone.
And it's kind of a sci-fi series. Bob Odenkirk's in it.
Oh, he's a good actor.
2 seasons. What was that?
He's a good actor.
What's the premise?
They basically, it's kind of like she has some mental health issues, but since she's kind of like traveling in time where Bob Odenkirk had died, is her dad.
Okay, I'm not watching this, Wyatt. It's got partly animation in it. Like, what's going on, bud?
It's that rotoscope animation, like Scanner Darkly type.
Oh,
so it's live action, but they just animated over it.
Wyatt, I'm gonna guess you scored somewhere near a 30 on your ACT. Am I in the neighborhood?
I think it was like 28 W, somewhere around there.
You're in the neighborhood.
I started to text you the other day that Hy-Vee had chicken thighs, 99 cents a pound, but I forgot you guys don't eat chicken.
No, I eat chicken, but yeah, the wife doesn't eat the chicken anymore.
Eggs were only like $1.18 too, man. I was your guy, and guess what? It wasn't Asian related. Although you could probably put eggs in fried rice, but
yeah.
Outside of that,
just throw some soy sauce on there. You're good to go.
Hey, Wyatt, do you know how to make really good fried rice? Because I'm actually in the market for a good recipe.
It's
stop. I told David this. The frozen fried rice over at Baker's is actually really good. That's
say less.
I'm never making like a kimchi fried rice. That's what I just make it quick.
And it passes the test, huh?
Right now, yeah, what you get passes could.
Hey, so your buddy, our mutual great grocery shopper, told me that Baker's has 60 eggs for $11 or something like that.
60 eggs.
Dude, he buys one every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing because we have chickens. We used to have our girls. They're too old now, so they don't lay. But yeah, we used to have a surplus of eggs, but not anymore.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help out. Wyatt. One bad TV show for one good shopping experience. How about that? Have a good one, buddy.
You too, man. Take care.
Hey, thanks, Wyatt. We'll get to Michigan Lance after the break. So, Lance, stick around. We will.
At least he wants to talk sports.
We will continue sports conversations.
Hey, we are entertaining, though.
And that's all that matters.
Is it?
I think so. I want people to feel like that we have a broader knowledge on things other than just sports.
Well, you opened yourself up yesterday.
Sure did.
Hard to top that.
I actually got down the rabbit hole of like deep thought yesterday.
Oh, Lord.
So I have another analogy that I'll save for like 9 o'clock.
Here we go. The Sports Mind by Andrew Rogers.
I'm thinking like Matt Rule.
Here we go.
Lance next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Say it again.
Release the Kraken!
How much of a flop was that goal? It was trash. That was a turnaround by Yanni Gord, and he wasn't even looking at the goal.
Get what I tell you yesterday.
Throw the puck on the net.
Throw the puck on the net.
Good stuff happens when you put the puck on goal.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. They almost tricked that off, though.
That was a high school coach in me. My coach in high school used to say, "Good blank happens when you put the puck or put the ball on goal."
Did he say blank?
He said blank.
Did he tell you to release the Kraken?
No, he did not. We were not the Kraken. We were the Celts.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's your high school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember those guys.
Yep. And by the way, Travis on YouTube, Unforgettable is legit. We binged that one very quickly.
I see. Okay, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I'm obviously watching it.
You're engaged and invested because you watched 9 episodes last night.
And 2 nights. Yeah, 2 nights.
Like that's a lot of show.
Have you seen me sleep?
No.
Yeah, it's tough.
If I did, that'd be weird. Hey, you're going.
If I just catch you peeking through the window.
DB. Yeah, I'll be knocking on the window like you were knocking on the table.
We good? So Travis the Hunter likes Unforgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Unforgettable's legit.
Hey, so what's her buckets? Tattoo Queen Sasha told us how to get on the comments.
How?
I don't know. She texted.
Did she text us both?
Yeah, she said you have to do something and then you can get in.
That's so funny. You know how to do it. Like you saw the directions on how to do it.
But I don't know what she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
She said something about logging in somewhere.
I'll look it up during the break. See if we can
Google it.
Yeah, Google.
Yeah, so I watched a lot. Dude, after the Kraken scored, like I felt like I had an adrenaline rush. Well, and all I could think of is sports are cruel.
I picked the wrong Dallas Star to lead the second round in goals.
Don't be such a degenerate.
Joe Pavelski.
By the way, remember I told you about the guy that I always talked to, usually over text? Although he did one time, we used to always like swap meat.
What'd you do?
We'd shop and we'd tell each other where the deals were and stuff like that. And he brought me a nice knife one time. But anyway, we you're gonna really get a kick out of that. Forget about it. Flush it from the brain. It never happened.
Yeah, it's all I can think about.
Stop looking at me like that, you goofball. We actually bought the same brand of chips on the same day yesterday, although he got one flavor off. Lay's has these new flavors, and he got one, and because of Zoe, I got the other. She likes Funyuns, but she can only eat a couple because they mess with the roof of her mouth.
Right.
But Lay's has a Funyun flavored chip, so I got those for her to see if she likes. I didn't know.
Right there.
She conned me into getting some marshmallow tricks too. I'm still mad at her for
You know,
that.
there's a chip at Aldi that is like baked Lay's, but
Dude,
it's like the off-brand.
That's Severe Store.
Really?
Oh, swears by Aldi.
I
swears
vibe
by
with Aldi.
Swears by Aldi.
There is it's like a Southwest something chip, like barbecue chip, Southwest barbecue. It's something like that.
I just eat
and
plain.
it is fire.
I just eat plain, unless
Fire.
it's scoops. I'm a big scoops guy.
Well, I do scoops if I'm eating salsa. or
Oh,
like
I do
queso.
scoops with a nice ham and cheese sandwich, old school. Munchy, 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 munchy.
You're the first person
Fritos
under
corn chips go with lunch.
You're the first person under 50 I know that says Aldi is legit.
Is Severe 50?
There's a
Yeah,
lot
he's barely
of people
over 50.
that I know that shop at Aldi because it is. a
He
bang
says
for your
they
buck.
have some of the best frozen food ever.
I'm more of like their fruit guy.
Oh, you buy perishables there?
Cheap.
Huh.
Apples are apples, right?
Absolutely not. Bro, have you ever had? You're joking me with that, right? That's the one fruit that is.
That ain't wet.
Shut up, man.
That would have worked out better if you did that 2 minutes ago, Shane.
Exactly. Let's go to Michigan, Lance. Lance,
Pickle on the chicken sandwich.
Lance, you like pickles on your chicken sandwich? No, I'm just kidding. What's up with the Lakers?
Hey, good morning, boys.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning, man. Well, you got your DJ
Man,
radio
hey,
voice?
AD.
Yeah. All day.
Animal.
Hey, he's on some win by any means necessary, isn't he?
Yeah, I was messing with Drew down yesterday. Quietly, he's had a good 4 months.
You said quietly he had a what?
He's had a good 4 months. He's played.
Man,
played well.
It seems like it started with the when LeBron broke the record.
And LeBron had LeBron had the foot injury, and AD took over.
Right. But remember he was sitting down and people were like, well, why isn't he celebrating LeBron? But he was just really mad that they were losing. And, so now I go back like, oh, okay, AD, you didn't flip the switch. You tired of people calling you Mr. Glass and
Street clothes,
and soft, and
Barkley had to apologize.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he did do it to himself now, but he's toughing through like. Hey man, I give him respect. Like, okay, he was up and down, but it's like, but you were doing other things. You were doing winning stuff, rebounds, blocks, defense. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, AD, I see you on a mission, man. I like it. I like it. So Jordan Poole showed me. I didn't agree with what Draymond did, but then he showed me last night. I kind of understand why Draymond might have did that.
Yeah.
Jordan, that little, what was that, the little piano thing? Dude, what are you doing? Stop.
Hey, what? So I saw a title that said "Pool is closed" or something like that. Yeah, Jordan Poole is our D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, hey, my son said the Lakers are going to win. It's a gentleman's sweep 4-1, and his guy is D'Angelo Russell. He's a big D-Lo guy for years.
Oh Lord. We got
like, yeah. I'm like, hey, I got nothing against D'Angelo. He's a lefty, but I understand what you're saying, DB. He does have those vibes too. I don't know if it's light skinned or I don't know. But
why do you? What? See, there you go.
Hey, a little Michael Severe up in him. You know what I mean?
Oh,
who knows?
There you go. The equal opportunity offender. See, you were doing just fine.
Hey, man. Hey, so remember I gave a shout-out to my sister-in-law, Valerie Harrison, for going in the Benson Hall of Fame. You sparked my memory. So that evening when they had the Hall of Fame, some guy was like, Michigan Lance gave you a shout-out. Like, he was happy she got the shout-out and that she was going in, but was disgusted that I was the one that knew.
I told you.
That I was the one that gave
the man that people love to hate.
Man, I was like, gee, they're like, you know him, like.
Hey, let me ask you something real quick, sports related, because we were toying around with this idea, and I asked, maybe it was Sam, and I asked Drew down, because we said there's elite defense or elite offense now in the Big Ten win, and I said, well, apparently it's defense because Ohio State can't beat Michigan right now.
That was Vogel, actually.
Was it Brandon Vogel? Yeah, okay. So take your homer glasses off.
Okay.
Would you rather, going forward, be Michigan or Ohio State?
Oh, Michigan.
Oh, stop.
The coaching staff.
Really?
The coaching staff. I don't think Ryan Day is tough, meaning tough in the trenches type coach. Like I think he's more of a who's my guy at USC?
Lincoln Riley.
I think he's more of a Big 12 Lincoln Riley, Pac-12 type coach. I don't think, So, he went and hired a Big 12 defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State that he thought was going to beef up the defense against Michigan. So, Now, what I don't like about Michigan is the quarterback play right now. My man, JJ McCarthy, I didn't like those picks he was throwing.
He was young.
National championship game or the playoffs. And then he comes out in spring and looks the same way. I'm like, dude, you're throwing picks in spring. And I'm not talking like, close 50-50 balls. You're throwing it to the other guy. I didn't like that at all when I watched from the spring game.
Right.
And I'm not, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just remember it is spring. Like,
everybody knows
Nebraska fumbled 4
again.
times, 5 times, whatever it was.
Yeah, but see, that's a problem, though, because Nebraska was doing that in the fall.
No, I told you it's only a problem if you can't work out the timing getting underneath center. If it didn't if it didn't happen with a guy carrying the ball out in the open, I'm not worried about it.
Okay, I got you. I'll tell you right now, I'm worried about JJ, and you know who's put that in my head? Was Brandon Williams. He's like, I don't know about him. I'm like, huh? He's like, I understand he's a big 5-star for IMG, but he wasn't sold in the middle of the season last year. And so I've been watching, paying close attention to this kid. I need to see improvement, a big improvement, for us to win a national championship.
Well, you arguably have the best running back tandem in the conference.
Exactly, right. And Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator, he doesn't have to share that. The other guy lost that game for us. I didn't like Harbaugh with the co-offensive coordinator. That lost us that TCU game because we played TCU ball. We tried to air it out and be fancy and not play tough, and they played right in the TCU hands. So I feel real comfortable. I feel comfortable that we'll be back in the playoffs and compete for a national championship, but JJ has to be a better decision maker. Not only passing, but knowing when to run too. You know what I mean? Like sometimes he holds on to the ball or he doesn't run enough. You know what I mean? A quarterback scramble. He needs to do that more in those tough spots where he doesn't see anything.
Yeah, if he makes the step up, you guys win the title.
Right, exactly.
Malusi, Allen, DB, Edwards,
DB,
Corn.
Fire.
It's good tandem of those two schools.
Thanks, Lance. Brian Christopherson next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio. Here is Husker 24/7 senior writer Brian Christopherson.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a circus act.
Brian Christopherson.
Well, I mean, that's pretty interesting.
Brian Christopherson.
I kind of enjoy that.
Here is Brian Christopherson.
Welcome back. Top of the hour here on Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, alongside Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. We're happy to have you with us wherever you are listening. 590 here in Omaha. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. And we are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club, as we are every day for the show. We appreciate all of you tuning in and chiming in at different points, whether it is via Twitter, via YouTube, even when you give us a call, 888-638-4876. Now, I'd say don't give us a call now because we have only one caller for this segment, and he was in the intro. That's Brian Christopherson, and he's here with us now via StreamYard. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
B Sizzle.
Sound great.
I kind of like the radio voice, man. It's like, good morning. How are you doing?
I sound deeper? I sound more like a man, Damon?
Yes.
Give me a Husker update, DC.
This is the DJ.
You have 30 seconds, and you have to give me a Husker update. Go.
A Husker update on what would you like to hear about? About the 10 transfers.
How about Nebraska basketball's off season?
Let's do that.
Good. Yeah, hometown lad Josiah Alec is returning to be a Husker. I don't know.
He goes, I don't know.
I can't do it. I can't.
You can. You can, BC.
You can do it.
I can't
get that old blank of yours in the end zone. We got to win this thing.
I can't pretend I have that voice suddenly when I usually sound like a guy going through puberty. So,
hey,
no.
So lot of Royals fans locally. You got your man Mike J. Schaefer, who's the Guardians fan. Are you the best of the rest by default, or are you going to end up being better than you think? BC, what's up with your Twins?
Twins are going to win mid to high 80s, I think. They have really good starting pitching. The rest of their team is very average. So that's the quick update on the Twins. The Guardians definitely could still win it. It's between the Twins and Guardians already, it feels like. Although, don't be shocked if, like, the White Sox, I'm a pessimist, as you know, that if the White Sox just, like, sweep the Twins and they start to pump their chest, even though they're like 11-21 or 9-20.
Gray, Ryan, and Lopez are pretty good, though.
Well, you know what's funny about that is you weren't sold on them coming into the season.
I did like their outfield. Remember, I told you.
I meant the pitching, though.
Yeah, I was worried about their pitching. I did like the upgrades you made defensively. I thought you were going to give yourself a chance, and Joey Gallo still strikes out. But outside of that, I mean, hey, go Gray, Ryan, and Lopez. Get guys out.
Yeah, Pablo's a nice ad. Although I don't know, is Luis Arraez still hitting like 500 with the Marlins? Maybe
yes, he's insane.
Yeah.
I love Luis. I always will. He won my heart, and it doesn't matter if he could go to another AL Central team, and I'd have to just like step out of the room when he takes his at bats. That's how much I love him.
So Andrew's kind of in his feels a little bit because we were talking about the Royals
a lot of it,
and he's like, "Well, St. Louis is not very good," and I was like, "Yeah, the state of Missouri, at least Missouri had to beat Kansas last night in college baseball. At least,
and Missouri State beat Omaha. Which I wasn't happy about.
Somebody had to win that game, so at least it's looking up for somebody in the state. It just happens to be the college team in Columbia.
Yeah, the Royals. I knew it'd be a tough year, but it might be a tougher year than I even suspected. Them and of course, my colleague Bruns is a big A's fan, and that's just a torment. Moneyball was on the other night, though, so I was about to text him, say, just go watch that like every other night or something. For the rest of the year.
They had a little Miller on Miller crime last night. Those guys were dueling.
Yeah, they did have a good. I don't know if they won.
Mariners ended up. The only reason I pay attention is because I actually have the Mariners in the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to kind of at least see.
He goes, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's a pretty stupid pick. But you know what, BC, it's a long season. I got about 100 and I got about 122 games to get it right.
You know how early I went to bed tonight? You guys could update me on who won the Golden State Lakers game. I don't even know.
BC, what's wrong with you? Like,
State
did your beauty sleep? Golden State did not win.
Lakers won, huh? It was 65-64 a half, and I just didn't have it in me. It seemed like a great game, but my eyes were saying no.
The Lakers were up 14 with 4 minutes to go, and then all of a sudden it was a tie game.
You remind me of
that game. Tie
remind
game.
me of those cars in cars where they were driving next to the big rig, and they're like, "I think we've got a nodder."
Yep, that was it.
You just dozed off. You see?
Yeah, that was it. I can picture the scene. You just brought it to life right there.
I think I'm a child. Hey, so BC, how did Nebraska's latest walk-on fly under the radar when he once held all those offers? Like, what happened there, and how did he just kind of arrive like a thief in the night?
Yeah, David Borchers seems like a really good preferred walk-on pickup. He's up to 300 pounds. He's going to start on the offensive line. It was one of those deals where he got the early offers from the bigger programs. Like Iowa State, I think, offered him in 21 when he was like sophomore or something. Nebraska came in pretty early too, and they liked him on the defensive line with the last staff. And I don't know, this happens once in a while with their recruit where there's changes within their position coach or whatever, or the whole staff. And the main schools that are after him just sort of fall off. And that's what occurred here. And so he was going to go the Iowa Central route, play some JUCO, build himself up. He's really a confident kid in his skill set.
Yeah.
He comes in from the same school that North Scott school that Dylan Parrott, who's on the O-line that Nebraska does, who Rule has actually commented about liking the look of just the size. I don't know how he's actually translated to the field. But yeah, he's just, 300-pound guy that not on scholarship, nothing to lose from Nebraska's end. They called him up about 2 or 3 weeks ago, said, hey, why don't you come and visit? He refamiliarized himself with the town, liked the staff. He knows Raiola already a little bit, and very motivated dude. He says, I'm a Big Ten lineman. I really believe it. It's just got to go prove it. I just needed the opportunity.
Along the lines of position groups here, if you weren't watching the football, like the legitimate football during the spring game, every play, who would you say had the best off the ball performance, whether it was a player or position group?
Off the ball. I like that back end of the defense still a lot. I mean, Sincere was a guy I think we brought up on the show maybe last time I was here. Damon might have. He had a very good spring game. He was involved around the ball too. I think he had 4 tackles or something like that from his spot. But I think he could factor into the equation. There's just so many interesting pieces there. You see, even a guy we could work this into the portal a little bit. Like Jaleel Martin was a guy I really liked as a recruit.
I did too.
Yeah. And the previous staff loved him. He came to a Nebraska summer camp. He tore it up and had everything they wanted. Travis Fisher thought he was next level type player. Maybe there was a little embellishment there, but the bottom line is there was just so many guys back there that I think are solid and give them options that you're going to lose a couple along the way. And so that's sort of sorting itself out. But I do think a guy like Sincere could be someone to watch. A guy like Dwight Boodle seemed like he was intriguing him at the end of spring after he got healthy as an early enrollee. So I would say the back end.
If you're kind of paying attention to the scholarship deal, and they'll get close, right? Because we don't know, who's actually going to leave, who's just going to go to school. I do imagine if it's not official, it will be soon. Borkature and Bullocks have got to be on scholarship. When you're looking at that second level, well, tight ends too, for that matter, with Borkature and Bullocks coming up, how competitive is or isn't it, do you think, will it be between Henrich, Reimers? Obviously, Bullock has made his impact. Which one of those guys of those three, we'll start there because I'll get to the tight ends in a second. Which one of those guys could you see potentially being on the outside looking in?
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to frame it exactly like that, but Nick Henrich, I've been worried about that injury, just like how long, when you've been dinged up sort of throughout his career as he has. And so that's where the lane I would travel. And I worry a little bit about that after multiple setbacks like that. And I know the last one was a pretty tough one. And so, when you're not out there in the spring and other people are getting a chance to really have their influence in front of a new set of eyes, you never know what's going to happen. So, yeah, he's going to have to be a guy who, when he comes back, he was a great leader within that group and one of the great guy, like when you talk to him and stuff. So you really root for him. But, yeah, I would say if I'm any of those veteran guys, I'm on my toes right now. And I'm thinking like this is a new ball game over here. And there might be some people who didn't have opportunities before that are getting theirs. There's newcomers that are in the mix. You've got your, they're moving all around, but you've got your MJ Shermans and your Chief Borders and all these guys that are factoring in. And yeah, there could be a guy like that has been a veteran that has played a lot of snaps, I suppose, that could have to really fight to just have that same opportunity again.
Pleasantly surprised, or you kind of saw it coming? I used to be the closet president of fan club of Borkature, but I think hopefully everybody else
is picking up on that.
Hopefully everybody else is coming around. Like, did you kind of see this emergence coming, BC?
Yeah, I'm not the brightest bulb, as you guys know, but I did think Borkature early on, just the way like Sean Beckton would talk about him. And I was also thinking like, man, he's getting a lot of buzz for just like right out of high school. Like his first year in the program, he was already a guy that everybody sort of was responding to or talking about. And I know, like, early last year, I think it was a Northwestern game even, he popped in after the injury to Vokalek, and he had a drop or two. And it might have happened again the next week. And it was one of those deals where I think sometimes within the fan base, there's that first like impression on a guy that sort of settles in, and people have a tough time shaking. And I felt like Borkercher maybe had to shake that with some of the fans throughout the season. But people got to remember, he's a really young player. Now, I mean, he was. Now I suppose he's kind of making that segue into, I know what I'm doing out here. And it showed in the spring game. I thought he belonged every bit as much as all the other guys we talk about. And I understand why there's all the talk about Thomas Fedoni and Eric Gilbert, but Borkercher's going to play a lot. And if you listen to the staff and the way they talk about tight ends and just all the ways they can move them around and putting 3 of them on the field at one time, going to be an important dude for this team. And yeah, I would suspect a scholarship guy whenever that moment is available.
Speaking of scholarship players, as they work down to that 85 mark, BC, a big conversation we had yesterday revolved around the quarterback situation. And Jeff Sims is the obvious favorite right now, but it had me thinking just in this moment more about the number 2 than it was about the number 1. Do you feel comfortable saying that Harburg is the number 2 outright over anybody else at this moment? And on top of that, do you see Nebraska at any point, maybe in the summer or further down the line, bringing in another body to help that position group?
You never say never, but I think Harburg would be the favorite at the second spot by just listening to coaches. I mean, you guys hear all the interviews. He's the one who always pops up. Obviously Purdy is still there. I don't know if they're going to add another body or not. I don't sense they're overly panicked over there. It would have been nice if like Logan Smothers were still in that fold, just as like another guy who has been around the block, and it gives you that one more option. But I'm not someone who's just thinking necessarily there's going to be another QB in that room by the time they get to the fall. So I think Harburg, they really like what he can do with his feet. They think he's a physical runner, and he had a good spring no matter what the spring game made people on the outside think. That was one practice. I know he's 2 of 9 and was choppy throwing it, and it's got to come together with more rhythm there. But in the running part, he gives them a nice dynamic, and I think they can be fluid, sort of like, say there was an injury to Sims, like in the second quarter of a game. I think between those two guys, they can be pretty fluid in their package of stuff they do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, great follow-up to that, because that was kind of leading into my next point. Take Kansas, for example, last season. They had Jalen Daniels, who was the obvious number 1, and then he goes down with injury, and you had a guy like Jason Bean step up, and he, frankly, looked like a number 1 out there, even though he was the backup on that team. Does Harburg give you enough to say that he can be a number 1 for a team in a Power 5 conference?
I mean, he's got to just keep coming. I don't want to say yes or no on that yet, but I think he's got it in his toolkit, but it's just got to be a day-by-day process where you just keep developing and you keep becoming a little more confident in the passing game, and then you just see where it is by fall camp. I mean, this summer is going to be huge for this whole team, as they've spoken about, but think especially about the QBs and receivers getting out there and getting that time and getting timing together and just building up like, okay, this is how this guy operates on each end of it. I don't think it was only the QBs why the passing game was a misfit sometimes. The receivers are still sort of figuring their way. So that's part of it. But I don't know yet. I know there's some skepticism about Heinrich Harburg, but all I know is that over the course of 2 to 3 months, he's changed the whole narrative about what we're talking about. Could he be number 2 as opposed to in January or February? People are asking me, are they going to move him to tight end? So that's good on him for the spring he had to make that move. Now, can you make the next one, really?
BC, kind of behind the scenes, as we're talking about scholarship distribution, and there's a song by Drake, by the way, Major Distribution, since we're on the Drake thing today. Sorry, BC.
And yesterday.
Major Dist. Oh, okay, let me stop. BC, Sean Padden, behind the scenes, I think he's a guy.
and I think maybe Mitch touched on it about a month ago through another outlet, but he's a guy that I think you should get into because I think he could really be an economist. I think if he wanted to, he understands the general manager role. I think he has a really good handle on the recruiting portfolio and how to mesh NIL. Like, how important do you think it is for Nebraska to have guys like that behind the scenes doing the dirty work that allows the staff just to be the staff?
Oh, absolutely. That's huge. There's all sorts of stuff I have no knowledge about, and the public won't have any knowledge about, that if you have a few guys who really know their business and can handle it, sort of behind the curtain, those are big steps for a program in this day and age where you're working your roster, you're figuring out maybe clever ways to make the numbers fit sometimes, I suppose, and all that stuff. So a guy like that, or several guys like that, I think if you're a staff that doesn't have them anymore, you're going down the river the wrong way. I mean, you're in trouble. So that's a big deal. And I mean, there's a reason why he brought in you think about Patton, you think about Dr. Susan Elza, all these people have specific things they're really good at. And I know I've heard Rule speak on this subject. It's like, there's going to be certain things he says I'm not good at, or this guy's not good at, but if this person really excels at that, and you have everybody that sort of has their thing that they're really good at, that changes the whole ball game. So I do think that's probably a bigger deal than gets talked about. Partly because people like me don't know all the ins and outs of some of what they're doing because it's so specific that it's hard to talk about. But I do think it should be recognized as being significant, those type of people.
We're talking to Brian Christopherson, senior writer for Husker 24/7 at Husker 247 BC on Twitter. Brian, we've heard it from Rule before, but let's bring it up again now that the NFL draft has concluded. This team's still in the development stages. He wants to develop more recruits and athletes to have their name called on that day too. How important is it to have guys in the room that understand that developing success and to not abandon it, even when it seems slow and not easy? Do you think those remaining on the roster are fully bought into that mentality?
They call themselves a developmental program now. Out
Yeah.
loud.
Mm-hmm.
That's a start.
But instead of just saying it, though,
yeah,
do you do it?
Yeah. I mean, I liked his quote, and he did a podcast with one of our 24/7 sports guys last week. It was a really good, there were some insightful things in there, and it was about, I want this is a program for high achievers who want to be around fellow high achievers. And I think every time he speaks about specifically like kind of getting guys focus away, the NIL stuff is important. I don't want to knock that, but getting guys mindset away from where that's all it's about. Like even if you're like a high school junior or senior and you're like, what's the NIL situation? And you're really focused in on that. And then you've got this coach who's saying, yeah. But think about this in the big picture. What if I said, I have the tools to give you the second contract in the NFL? We're talking the big dollars. We're talking, the sort of the permanent setup for your life. If we really focus in on the details, we think you have it in you, and we have the system and know what it takes to equip you to have a shot at that. I think that's a major selling point to recruits, and I know it is because every one we talk to brings it up, and I don't feel like it's just cliche. I think when they go visit with these coaches, they understand these guys are really locked in on not just winning ball games at Nebraska, but they know that the 17-year-old guy is dreaming about playing in that league on Sundays. And it's not something to just run away from or say, no, focus just specific. I mean, you want to focus on the now, but you also say that's a good long-term goal and we can work toward that, but you're going to have to do all the little things. You're going to have to be able to, as Rule said, he'd have guys when he was with Carolina that come in and they couldn't draw anything up on the board and they would slip a round or two. And he's saying, you're costing yourself $1 million maybe by that. So we're the type of program where we're going to have you where you can draw it up on the board, and you're going to be the type of guy who gets that maybe you're a second round pick instead of a third round or fourth round. And so I do think that's a really I think it's true that that's what they believe in themselves that they can do. And I think it's also going to be an effective sales pitch, if you want to call it that.
Some big time schools in town yesterday, day before, throughout the rest of this week. How important is it with these next two classes, BC? And it's going to get hectic. We've been talking about over-unders for in-state guys, but just across the board for Nebraska to get off of somewhat of a recruitable start to the season. I don't mean success as in, a specific number, but where you can go out and start to show progress when you put words to action.
Yeah. I think it's going to be important to get an in-state guy or two who jumps on board and adds to what you've got. And, not just the in-state guys, but in that 500-mile radius, I think they're hitting Kansas City and St. Louis like never before. Obviously, they're hitting Texas like we haven't seen. It's just a different ball game down there. I'm starting to know schools in Texas like I know schools in Nebraska. I mean, I'm starting to know the high school names and all that, who the coaches are and stuff like that. So it's just different. But I do think there is an importance of within that maintaining. You've also got your feet in the ground in the 402 area code, 308, whatever. And you're just like, we're here. We're going to always be here. And then, a big part of this too is this first season. If they can go out there while they're recruiting this class and the one that's next, and you're putting up 6-7 wins, you're getting to a bowl game, and that's a spot Nebraska hasn't been in 5 or 6 years. There's going to be a momentum within this state.
2-0 would be huge.
Yeah,
schools have spent a lot of time here, Minnesota and Colorado. Even that would be big.
I think the hardest part, Damon, about recruiting locally lately has been, and this is nobody's fault except the results, is we talk about Husker football on the radio and podcast here all day long, all year long. And so kids around here for the last 5-6 years, they hear like us talking about a team that's 4-8, and that's usually not great. And so that's all that's in the air. And so if they were like 2-0, as you say, in September, and how this state gets when things are humming a little bit, and the way there's a hop in the step and the air it's just different. Like you can hear the drum beat at the high schools and they're working on their Friday halftime shows, and you're like, man, this is great. Football in the fall in Nebraska. So if they get that going, I think that anything else we could talk about, that changes the dynamic with these local guys immediately.
Great call there, BC. Thanks so much for your time this morning. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks, B.
Thanks, guys.
Kevin Sjuts up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Welcome back to Coffee and Cream in the Morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency, live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. Wherever you catch us, 590 here in Omaha, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. We appreciate you joining the show each and every day, and we appreciate Kevin Sjuts joining the show every other week. He's the sports director at 1011 Now. We welcome in Kevin now. Good morning, Kevin Sjuts.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. We're hanging in there. I can't wait for this news, Kay, because, and I guess we won't know, but I saw a couple of local high school coaches this weekend, and at their respective schools. Sauter teased it last Friday. I know the Metro gets a bad rap about transfers, but apparently there's going to be a lot of movement in the hoops world in Lincoln. Excited, eye roll, believe it when you see it without naming names, like major movement in Lincoln. Are you hearing that?
I definitely am. It's going to be wild, like fire up those conversations about, transfer portal for high school now, right? That's kind of what we're getting to. Open enrollment allows you to move, and I think that there were some teams a little sour, or some players that were a little sour about the way it all shook out last year, and it's going to be wild, because the school year is wrapping up and everybody's starting to think to 2023, 24 and what that's going to look like.
Kevin, we just got done talking with Brian Christopherson, and he brought up a point near the end of the interview talking about how the Huskers are doing a better job of getting back and recruiting St. Louis, Kansas City, and trying to reestablish those areas. And it got me thinking, and I asked DB during the break, but I want to ask you this too. Based on where they stand today, what geographical area do you see as the Huskers' biggest need to reestablish their presence? And if you say Kansas City or St. Louis, that's fine.
Let's pull them out.
But if you pulled them out, what's a new area that you're like, hey, in the past, they've done a great job here, but they need to get back and do it again?
Texas.
Well, they did Texas, right? So they have 6, 7, 8 bodies coming out of Texas. So if there's a new area, what do you think?
Let me ask it this way.
Texas. All right. Hey,
I'm going to stay right there. I mean, I know it doesn't answer your question.
He
I'm
said
just having fun with
Texas.
you guys, but just stay in the South. Get to a large population area and just get the best dudes.
Hey,
and when you're in a high population area, you got more to choose from, and you can have a better chance of fitting your needs. Now, to answer your question, I guess I'll play the game. I'd say go to Chicago. Is that inside the 500 or outside the 500?
You know what? I didn't really think of Chicago. That's interesting because let's count that in the radius. What if I gave you, because we're kind of debating off air, would you take Minnesota or Colorado to reestablish if at this particular juncture, Kevin?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm going to go Minnesota.
I did too.
On my guy, Nate Swift. I'm going. Nate Swift came from Minnesota. He's one of my all-time favorites.
He's a fantastic person
he was
too.
Such a dude and an unassuming good football player. So I'm going to go Minnesota. If you're making me choose between the land of 1,000 lakes and whatever the slogan is for Colorado, I'm going fishing in Minnesota.
And my guy Jay Foreman too. I can't forget Eden Prairie's finest. So Kevin, this is kind of interesting, right? I was talking to Andrew, and because some of these guys are right there in your backyard, and Gatula's off to a good start. And local recruiting is pretty hot and heavy. You got a couple studs at East. I think Dash Bauman is going to be on the come in a hurry. Guys like that. Carpenter, who, by the way, is putting up some fantastic times in track. If Nebraska, let's say, goes 2-0, I'm not even going to go nuts, right? I'm not predicting 6 wins. I'm just saying you win 2 games on the road against Minnesota and Colorado, right? 2 schools that spend a lot of time here recruiting. How huge do you think that could be on the local landscape? Is that over or understated? Just 2-0. Just 2-0.
Oh, man. I don't like the prognosticating stuff. You can never, the last 5 to 7 years, you can't pick what the wins and losses.
Do you know what you want? You know what you wanted to say? DB, when's the last time Nebraska's been 2-0? I don't know, Kevin. I got to look it up. I mean, kind of just from I'm telling you, I think some of the local guys don't need much to cling to other than a good start.
I get the point. I think that just the overall offseason, I mean, a bad start would maybe undo all the good offseason mojo with the new staff and all the new things they're selling. You got a point, DB. I like it. A good start would be very healthy for the fan base, for the recruiting, for the psyche of the locker room. Man, that would be great. But do I think they're going to go 2-0? Yeah. But do I have a lot of reasons to believe that 2-0 may not happen because of, football?
Yeah.
Weird stuff you can't
History.
History, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, oh. But, I do feel like there's good momentum
Me too.
For the local recruits in Nebraska.
Me
I
too.
feel like for the longest time, a Nebraska visit or an email or a phone call, it's just kind of met with the Nebraska, because Kansas State is ringing their phone, Colorado State, and some of the other Division I schools, regionally. But I feel like now it carries a little bit more weight just because they're, Matt Rule hasn't lost a game, and Nebraska's grabbing some very positive headlines. So I do feel like those contacts are being met with a little bit more welcomeness, if that would be a word.
And I think it's interesting that Noonan and Gatula and Alvano, who isn't even on campus yet, they're garnering some local steam. So I'm like, it wouldn't take much because I think we're chomping at the bit to cling to any positive production on the field.
Yeah, that's good. I'd throw Malachi Coleman in there, too. I think he's got a chance to play right away. I do, with the need at wide receiver and just his overall skill set and his body. That's a really good thought. You get Alvano kicking in year one, Malachi catching some balls in year one. And all these –
wouldn't that be something?
All these recruits, all these dudes, they know each other.
Yep.
So the chatter will turn up. It'll get hot. And then, hey – if Malachi goes in and contributes right away, I know Malachi, he says this is good, And then all of a sudden, the burner turns up quite a bit for some of the local guys. I love the shout out of Dash there, by the way, Damon. He's just a phenomenal athlete, having a great track and field season. Whether he goes Nebraska or maybe to a group of 5 school, we'll see. But I think that he's got a great future ahead of him.
Talked to a couple of schools yesterday at Metro Track, and I couldn't sing his praises enough. So I hope one of those schools in particular makes a pit stop out there on their way to Oakland Craig, because he's one of my – Kevin, he's just one of those guys I watch on film. I look at his frame, and I'm like, he's better than the recruiting experts think. That guy is a really good player.
Yeah, he's a hurdler too, and all hurdlers are crazy. And so he's got the right mindset. You don't run the hurdles if you're a timid dude. You got to be fearless, and I think that's the way he plays on the football field. So we'll see where he lands. College-wise, that's some time to make a choice, but great kid and just a tremendous athlete.
All right, quickly here, about a minute and a half, Kevin. You mentioned Malachi Coleman, and you think that he has the chance to play right away. That wide receiving room, huge still, even though we've seen some head to the transfer portal. Where do you see those numbers shaving down to? And if Malachi is to jump as high as you think he will on the list, will he be at 1, 2, 3, 4?
Where I see Malachi fitting in terms of the depth chart, is that what you're asking?
Yep, exactly.
Man, it's hard to put him above a guy like Billy Kemp.
Or Marcus Washington.
I put him at like the 3-4 line. They're going to use tight ends. Fedoni's not going to play like right squeezed up against the line. They'll put him in the slot, I believe. And so I'm going to put him like at a 3-4, but I could see him being, carving out a role. Maybe he's a third down guy that they'll try to stretch the field with while they sneak a guy like Kemp or one of those other fellas underneath, so I think he's got a chance to see the field. I really do. And if he has success right away, he could carve out a nice little role to help the team.
Kevin, I'm going to try to bump into you because I'm in Lincoln enough. You strike me as the type of guy that's sitting on a ton of information, and it just the hamsters are just running in that wheel in that head of yours, man. Captivating to say the least.
It's all good, man.
Appreciate you.
Kevin, thanks so much.
All right, be well, guys.
It's Kevin Sjuts, sports director at 1011 Now.
He knows a lot.
At Kevin Sjuts on Twitter.
I think he's got a good pulse.
More coffee and cream next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Not to be confused with Coffee and Cream, which we found out was a movie on Netflix. I told DB maybe we'll both watch it and give our review someday. I think that'd be fun.
Coffee Sadie hit me up with that in the DMs. He's a funny dude. He was in town. This probably a couple months ago. He and the fam ate here. Had a good experience on a Saturday night. Good guy. Got to take him with a grain of salt though, because he's kind of nuts. It's like he's one of those guys.
Where it's like people like that.
You know what I mean? Like super cool. Like
yeah.
But you kind of blank, and the next thing you know, you're like throwing up on the side of your car in 2006.
Adventurous. I like it.
I mean, I don't know if that. At least that's hypothetically speaking, of course. Hey, why is my TL parked diagonally? I don't know.
We'll play Two for You at 9:30, so get your calls in for that. Two for You presented by Digman's Collisions Center. We will also talk to Tony Mejia, NBA columnist at Gaming Today, and the Gold Sheet at 9:45, and that's where DB can really release all of his thoughts.
NBA thoughts.
All your NBA thoughts.
I want to release them on you.
On
what we released the Kraken.
What did ESPN do yesterday? MVP'd for Embiid.
MVP'd.
Yeah.
Joel MVP'd.
MVP'd.
Well, as he's named MVP in the worst news yesterday. We buried the lead the other day with Chris Paul getting hurt. Weird. Good thing they got 3 days off.
Mm-hmm.
Still have no idea what Monty Williams was doing. But Jokic was just like, I can't score. I'm not dominant. I don't take games over. I pad my stats. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Take this 97-87 L. When the Suns only score 87 points, that's a problem.
Now, okay, question for you.
Okay, I'll see if I have an answer.
And
hey, Shane, where did Kurt go?
Yeah, Kurt, give us a call back. We saw that you were on hold, and then during the break, you went away.
I think he went to release the Kraken.
Oh,
God.
Nice.
His line yesterday. Who says that? Bunda Kraken.
Bunda. Hey, okay. Up 1-0 in the series.
My lips are so dry.
And you know, maybe Embiid's ready to go.
So Shams is reporting it may be more serious than we think. Do we believe Shams? Or is it a sham?
Okay, so I want to ask you, do you think the 1-0 lead buys the 76ers time to bring Joel back when he's 100% ready? Or do you put the foot on the gas right now and take advantage of being up one game?
Good question. I don't think you're going to win 2 in the Garden anyway. So I would rest Embiid one more game. They say the series doesn't start till you win one on the road, so it's officially started for the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, if he's struggling, let it ride and see what happens. Like I'm not saying take anything for granted. I'm just saying don't jeopardize a 7-gamer in game 2, right? Because this one could go a while, especially if fake fat suit guy continues to
keeps chopping.
Dude, I don't know if he has this competitive stamina to hang in there because he made his statement. So we'll see if he's like content that he showed the world, or will he double down, right? Competitive stamina, which Coach Rule talks about all the
Harden
time.
could either drop another 45
or
he'll
go
shoot for
he'll go 4 of 19 and you'll be like,
he'll shoot
there's that guy. So
he won't shoot lights out, but he'll shoot as much as he can, and he'll end up with 12 points.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't roll. But that's we'll see what happens tonight. Boston, it's a weird team. We got into these great debates.
Defensively, they should be so much better.
We got into these great debates about talented versus useful, right? And I don't know. Tatum is in a weird category.
Is he not in the talented category?
Well, he's uber talented.
Okay.
It hasn't produced a lot of results yet.
In the playoffs.
They should win more.
Right. In the regular season, he produced a ton for that team.
But so is that going to be your...
No, I'm not latching on to regular season.
Yeah.
But
So
in the playoffs,
like
for
what
sure.
has it yielded you, right? And he's not Kyrie yet because he's younger and he's got more time. But you got to be better than that down the stretch. And I'm not absolving Jaylen Brown of any
sin.
Yeah. But he held his own. He missed 2 shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
He shot 80% from the field, but this is must win, obviously. Must
Well,
win.
you have to take advantage when Joel's not there.
How do you give up 119 points to a team that doesn't have Embiid? Like that unto itself is inexcusable.
Right.
Inexcusable.
Mm-hmm. And they know that. That's what they're talking about.
But Tatum can't go 14 of 25 and Jaylen Brown 8 of 10. Like that's not the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus Smart's got to figure out
how to do more with the ball instead of just being out there for defensive purposes.
So I saw a stat the other day. I'm 90% sure, and I wanted to go back and double check. PJ Tucker played 37 minutes. Okay. Not one field goal attempt.
A 0 stat line.
No, he had a stat line.
That's what I'm saying. Like 0-0.
Yeah. So he had rebounds and assists, and so he wasn't goose egg. Didn't take one shot in 37 minutes. That's the most that anybody has played in a regular season or in a playoff basketball game without attempting a field goal.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Right?
How does that happen?
Even Kurt Rambis, AC Green, like John Sally, like role players that weren't really scorers.
You still shoot the ball 4 times.
Dude, Brad Sellers was getting up shots. Okay. So Dennis Rodman would have a field goal attempt. But anyway, I got all my Lincoln guys wondering who's on the move. Hey, man, it's May 3rd. The list is now official for the May 1st deadline.
In regards to
transfers, all the schools will get the lists in June. I don't know. Basketball's nuts. Basketball is nuts. That's all I'll say.
And you don't want to say anything until it's officially.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Right. Because you could be completely wrong, and then all of a sudden.
Although I did talk to 2 high school coaches, like head coaches, so I think they have a good feel, at least of who's leaving.
Right.
Now the Cummings, right? You're waiting to see, were they just talking, or did they make it official?
Sure.
Kevin Sjuts is funny. I'm a pin him down.
To go visit him.
Yeah, you could just tell. I could hear him smiling through the phone. He's like, "Yeah, I know, I heard."
Hey, he was messing around with us a little bit.
It's all right,
a little bit. Hey, so Jokic didn't get the 3-peat.
No.
If the Joker would have played with the same stats, Joel's same stats, Jokic's same stats. If he would have played, we'll say 5 more games than Joel, does he win MVP?
No.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. It was over when Doc Rivers took the podium a month ago and said, "What are we talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
What are we even talking about? Like, Joel is the MVP.
Because outside of points, Jokic had better production in other categories.
Yeah, but like if I had one guy and I needed him to play in a game, I'm definitely taking Embiid.
Really, I'd take Nikola Jokic.
Team's got to be built a certain way.
I'll take, and they're both amazing, so you can't really choose wrong.
Yeah, there's no question. No question. But I think I'm not going to say he has better players with Murray, Porter, and forgetting my other guy from the Nuggets. No disrespect.
Caldwell Pope.
Yeah, KCP.
Mm-hmm.
Omar.
No, Omar's coming.
Travis.
No, not Vokalek.
Nope, not
Wyatt.
on that team.
Nope, not Wyatt.
Caleb.
Tanner.
Nope. Benning. No.
Lincoln too.
Riley or Kennedy.
Garrett.
Snodgrass.
Henry.
Ford.
Prohaska.
Sure.
Who, by the way, could be pretty good too. Another guy that's on my radar at Elk South. Young guy. But would I take that over Harden and Maxey?
Yeah. I would take Jamal, Michael Porter.
Me too.
And
me too.
Caldwell Pope. Yeah. So yeah, you could say he's playing with the better team.
And he plays in the
Jokic,
plays in the tougher conference.
I think Jokic is more consistent than Embiid too. So I like the consistency factor there.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Like his stat lines across the board, consistent player.
Ooh, I don't know.
Like you'll see fluctuation in his points, but the majority of his game is very consistent.
Oh, is that a hot take?
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. I don't think so. I don't think that's that crazy to say.
You man.
Jokic more consistent in establishing his presence than Joel Embiid.
I think so.
I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm not going to die on a hill yet. Buck up, let's argue.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I got to. It's interesting.
You watch more NBA than me too, though. So
I know, and I'm
if
trying
you
to
think through it more, and you end up bringing up.
But
a better
it might
point.
be one of those things where I see it too much.
I see Jokic get the ball.
I pencil Embiid in for 25 and 10 every night.
I see Jokic. How many assists does Embiid get?
Not enough. I think 4 maybe. Right. And I'm going off the top of my head.
And what does Jokic average? Like 8, 9?
I'm going off the top of my head. You're testing me here a little
And we'll have our expert up next.
Oh, Tony Mejia, he'll ask.
He's at 9 now?
Yeah, he's got to move to 9.
He just got moved.
All right.
Which makes more time for us.
Oh, now we can get a question answered, too.
Cameroon's finest, Joel Embiid.
We'll be back.
It's Cameroon.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Brunson, bounce pass, looking for Randall, eluded him. Saved, though, by Grimes. Back to Randall, wing right. Drives the baseline, shoots on a fade, and got it. How did he do that? Randall with 23.
8:54 remaining. LeBron flying to the rim, lays it up and in. 103.95. Timeout, Golden State. Here is D'Angelo Russell to the rim, puts it up and in. Lakers by 2.
Hey, welcome back. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. We're live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. Happy to have you with us, and happy for those of you joining us in Lincoln now on KFOR, but we are live on ESPN 590 currently, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. And we are happy to be joined by Tony Mejia, NBA columnist at Gaming Today and the Gold Sheet, at Mejia Dinero, which I kind of like on Twitter.
Tony, you're just going to follow me wherever I go, man. I'm going to try to talk to you as much as I can, no matter what I'm doing. So appreciate you.
What's going on?
Doing? Good. We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. We got a bunch of hot takes this morning. My man Andrew's like putting me on the Budweiser hot seat, and I said, hey, you know what? Why don't you pose that same question to our guy?
So, Tony, here was the question. And it was revolving around Embiid winning the MVP, which I thought was factual, should have happened. But then I asked DB, I said, hey, if Jokic played 5 more games, do you think he would win MVP? And still the answer was no, Embiid wins the MVP, which then got me thinking, who's the more consistent player? Is it Nikola Jokic or is it Joel Embiid?
You know what? I honestly, and this is funny because I was doing the breakdown, and I said, all right, well, 69, 66, and 63 are the number of games that these guys have played.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now with the new collective bargaining agreement, there will be a cap as to how many games it will take to qualify for these awards. And Giannis actually only played 63 games. So, but Giannis was my MVP. To me, I thought he had the best season. The Bucks had the best record in the Eastern Conference. I honestly think that the fact that Embiid hadn't won yet, and that he did outplay Jokic in a very high-profile afternoon game that everybody was watching, where he was fantastic, really swayed voters. But I mean, honestly, you can basically say all three of those guys were deserving of an MVP. Jokic, best team in the Western Conference, driving force. He's going to shatter every triple-double record known to man by the time his career is over. Giannis was the most dominant player as far as I'm concerned, but he did only play 63 games. And then you have actually Joel Embiid, who played 66 games. And I don't think that this was his best season. So I honestly do think that at this point, he was rewarded for not having one.
So let me ask
you, like, all right, we owe him this.
Let me ask you something here, Tony, 'cause along those lines, how much of, and you kind of alluded to it, but we should know better. So I'm with you, right, where we take Giannis for granted. He's already won it. We take Jokic for granted, right, pencil him in for darn near a triple-double every night. If we know that we shouldn't take those kinds of performances for granted, and we talk about them on talk shows and podcasts, why does it still happen that we just take those guys for granted?
I mean, I honestly don't know, to be honest. I think that the way that the NBA does its awards, and mind you, I used to vote. Yeah. Like I had a vote. I voted for Dirk Nowitzki, I think, one year when he was the MVP. I think it should end. I think the All-Star voting is stupid too. I mean, we're basically giving way too much power to writers and fans, where it should be given to your peers. I mean, like, honestly, every team should have a delegate that votes for these awards that maybe captures the voice of the entire team, because you know who you're guarding, you know who you're game planning for, you know who gives you issues, much more than writers. And again, I'm a writer, and definitely much more than fans. So I think that needs an overhaul. Bottom line, though, I mean, your question in terms of, I guess it was Jokic. Like, look, the Sixers have actually fared pretty well. I believe it's 13-6, maybe 12-6, something like that.
Right there.
Without Embiid. Now, does that mean that they're a better team without Embiid? No, absolutely not. They're a 10-point underdog tonight because Embiid's probably not going to play for a reason.
That's Memphis and Ja too, right? They have a great record without Ja, but you'd rather play with him than without.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, I mean, if you look at Suns Nuggets, if Jokic wasn't part of the equation, the Suns would be a double-digit favorite. If you look at Giannis has missed time in this postseason, and the Bucks were lost without him. So, I mean, these are the cream of the crop in the NBA, but I honestly don't think you can separate them. And the fact that Joel Embiid was your MVP last night, I think was a payback issue. Like, all right, well, you've been one of the best players in the world for the last few years. We've slighted you. Now here you go. Because did the Sixers win anything? Did I check? Did I miss something? The Sixers win the Eastern Conference #1 seed? No, they did not. The Sixers win the Atlantic Division? No, they did not. So strictly favoritism.
My guess is that you think Embiid's 18-19 season was his best season, the 27-14. Or I think he went 27-14, 27 points. Tony, you think Embiid's best season, when you said it wasn't his best season, you think it was at the 18-19 season?
I'm sorry, you guys are coming in a little low. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Hey, so do you, my guess is you think Embiid's best season is the 18-19 season when he went 27-14 a night?
I didn't hear that, but do I think Embiid plays tonight?
No. It's I said you said this wasn't his best season. Do you think his best season was the 18-19 season?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like, is this his best season? I mean, he was great, but I mean, he played 66 games. He really did well. The Sixers did well, but again, they didn't win anything. And like, You're not the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. The one thing that I think that he did that captured everybody's attention was that afternoon. It was either a Saturday or a Sunday against Nikola Jokic, where he basically won the game in the final 5 minutes, and he was dominant. Hey. And look, Joel Embiid is fantastic. Like, I actually had this conversation this morning with somebody. Look, the fact is that what James Harden was able to do the other night without Joel Embiid, without his pick and roll partner, is an indictment of these Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Because they've been so inconsistent throughout the second half of the season. Look, you look at the NBA injury report, and this is something that I do religiously because you have to during the regular season. Like, you know, at noon, half the team is questionable. Like on every team, they are completely healthy, 1,000,000%. So if you're Joe Mazzulla, you can play Robert Williams or Al Horford, and you can play Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White, and you can play all these guys, and they're healthy and they're good to go. And you can't beat the Philadelphia 76ers at home without Joel Embiid. That's on you. Hey, and again, like it is one of those things where, like, Harden, like, what are you taking away if you're leaving Harden as a shooter to score 46 points? Because now with Embiid back, I don't know if he'll be back tonight, but he'll be back for game 3. That's your pick and roll partner. That's somebody that's going to get you 30 and 10. So the Celtics are in trouble.
Hey, so who needs to play better for you, in your opinion, Tony? Jordan Poole or D'Angelo Russell?
I mean,
for their respective teams.
I think D'Angelo Russell is the X factor for a championship. So to answer that question, that would be it. Because if D'Angelo Russell gets you 20 on efficiently on 4 of 9 3-point shooting, so it gets you 12 points on threes, gets you another 8 points driving the paint and whatever. As the number 3 with LeBron, who played well last night, and Anthony Davis, who obviously was a monster, 30 and 23, then the Lakers are going to be in the finals. So, yes, D'Angelo Russell.
Hey, Tony, who needs to get healthy the quickest? Chris Paul with the team down 2-0, Joel Embiid with the team up, or Jimmy Butler?
Well, I mean, like, at this point, I think Chris Paul is trying to find his way in this new mix that is the Phoenix Suns. And I've actually played in the first 2 games of this series successfully, because I was on the Suns. So I was not successful on the side, but I was successful on player props under 8.5 assists. And he had not done it at all in any of the regular season games that Durant played in. And then he had done it just twice in the Clippers series. He had a 9-assist game and a 10-assist game. But under 8.5 assists for Chris Paul is the new normal, because he is now a spot-up shooter. Devin Booker initiates that offense. I mean, Devin Booker is the assist guy. Devin Booker is the scorer guy. I mean, like you saw last night, 35 points and 6 assists. And then you've got to have Kevin Durant in that mix as well, initiating offense. Suddenly there's no room for Chris Paul, unless it's down the stretch in a tight game, to do what he does. So I think the Suns need to figure it out, but that golden opportunity missed last night, man. They had an opportunity to win that game and go back 1-1. I still like the Suns in the series. I still like the Suns in 6. So I think the Suns win the next 4 games, because Denver's a little, I mean, I don't know. I don't buy them. But as far as taking care of business the way they needed to, the Nuggets did.
Going forward, cap space included, Tony, would you rather be the Dallas Mavericks or the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I would rather be the Cleveland Cavaliers by 1,000,000. Are you crazy? Like the Dallas Mavericks I guess they're going to keep Kyrie. I guess. All right. So you've got.
So you realize by saying that by a mile that Luka Doncic will be probably the most overrated stat sheet stuffer in the NBA next year. If you say by a mile.
Damon, I just think you lack rim protection.
Okay.
Like honestly, who is protecting the rim for the Dallas Mavericks?
Did you watch Cleveland's offense against the Knicks?
No. Yes, absolutely. Look, Cleveland was my biggest whiff. I thought they'd beat the Knicks, and I thought that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley shrunk against Mitchell Robinson.
Well, would you rather play ISO ball or not be able to shoot?
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, but at the same time, you still have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland.
Yeah.
In Dallas, you have Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell as your pseudo centers.
Yum.
Like you don't really have a center, and then you've got Luka, who's not going to defend anybody, and Kyrie, who's not going to defend anybody. And the one thing that you heard Luka Doncic say before the transaction went down was like, please don't trade Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yep.
That's my friend.
Yep.
And he can defend everybody. And they traded him. So I think the Mavericks are in serious issues.
We're talking to Tony Mejia, NBA columnist at Gaming Today and the Gold Sheet at Mejia Dinero on Twitter. Tony, for those that like to cheer for the underdog, give them a reason to cheer here. Who's the most underrated player in the playoffs right now?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, for those that like to cheer for the underdog, who's the most underrated player in the playoffs right now?
The most underrated player in the playoffs right now is Jalen Brunson by a lot, because he's going to will the Knicks, and he's doing this in New York, which is wild. He's going to will the Knicks to an Eastern Conference Finals, because bottom line, we saw what they did last night. And I kind of hedged this on my Twitter account, but like they were favored by 6.5 yesterday. Won by 6. Josh Hart broke my heart. 2 minutes free throws in the final minute. Mitchell Robinson missed the free throw, but I expected that. But look, they still beat the Heat without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is fantastic. Jimmy Butler is great. Jimmy Butler is probably playing better than anybody in this postseason, and there's really little debate to that. That being said, I don't think he can beat the Knicks by himself, especially compromised on a bad ankle. So you're about to see a guy that was an afterthought, a guy that came off the bench for the Dallas Mavericks that then became a very important piece, that then became almost a max player, that kept the Knicks from acquiring Donovan Mitchell, who everybody anticipated that they would, and they went for him. And he is now going to be on the back page of the New York Post every freaking day. And good for him. But yeah, it's Jalen Brunson in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Sixers or the Celtics. And it doesn't matter who. He is by far the most underrated player in the NBA.
Tony, let me get you out of here on this, because I want to stay with the Knicks, because I think the NBA is better when the Knicks are good. There were some Knicks fans that wanted to run Tibbs out last year. Dallas makes some fiscal savvy blunders, should have re-upped Brunson. Then it cost him too much. He winds up in New York. New York gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, and all of a sudden Tibbs is a hero. Now, I know he's been coach of the year, but how do you separate player from coach in the NBA when you're looking at who's what?
I mean, I didn't get all of that, but look, I think that this season and then the seasons coming up are very interesting in terms of parity. And we're about to see, Damon, in-season tournaments that are going to kind of like turn things a little around, because these guys are playing for money. I think that'll be interesting. But bottom line is, all right, so here are three things to watch. And again, I apologize because the audio is coming in very low on my end. So
Sorry about that, Tony.
Fully understand your question.
Okay.
But Memphis now has to deal with getting rid of Dylan Brooks. He's not going to be a part of that team anymore. And getting Steven Adams and Brandon Clark back. And John Morant taking his next step forward and maturity-wise and all that. So the Grizzlies are going to be a force. All right. Then you have the Minnesota Timberwolves, where I believe anybody that has watched that team closely understands that Anthony Edwards is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to be amazing. And so what do you do with Karl Anthony Towns, who wants to be that alpha dog too? Do you trade him? Does he blend in? What happens? And then in the East, I mean, I think heat culture is an issue. I think heat culture continues to be that thing that you can't fully grasp, because they can absolutely beat the Knicks if Jimmy Butler's ankle is right. And in a down season for Bam Adebayo, for Max Strus, for Duncan Robinson, with Tyler Hero out, this Miami Heat team can go to the Eastern Conference Finals. What can they do next season? Simple as that.
Tony, we appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much. We will talk again soon.
Thanks, Tony.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
That's Tony Mejia, NBA columnist at Gaming Today, and the Gold Sheet at Mejia Dinero on Twitter.
Shane, how are our levels now? Are they good? Because I had to turn Tony way down. I know we totally revamped the phone system.
We did,
so we're playing with the levels.
Even out there and locally, somebody had said, "What's up with the audio?" We're working through some new issues with that. But Shane, go ahead.
We're working on it. I mean, we're gonna make it better so that there's not an echo.
Yeah.
That the listeners. So, and when we did that, it on the back end of it, we'll have some adjustments to do.
I think we needed a show to figure out what the audio levels are going to need to be with a new phone system.
Right.
And it's tough to do when you're not, when you're sitting on this side and you're not on the phone talking to you guys, you're not hearing what they're hearing. You're not like the guy that was on StreamYard that said, "What's up with the audio levels?" I don't necessarily know if he's in StreamYard or if he's on the radio. I don't know.
On the radio.
So we're checking all the vines to the plant here, to the tree, to see to make sure that we have that we can grow this forward and be better.
And DB's checking under his seat to see if he can find.
He said vines and tree and grow.
Maybe
he's an arbologist.
Oh, are we on the ologist train or is it just ist?
Ist.
Is it just like arborist?
Like I said, Sean Padden should be an economist. Sean Padden should be an economist.
Here, and when Michigan Lance comes on, he screams over the stream. I have to turn my phone way down as my coworkers jump.
So somebody else said that too. They're like, "Why does Michigan Lance talk so loud?"
And
I told Robbie, I said, we're his brothers, man. Being loud is our defense mechanism.
And we're adjusting for that.
Yeah, you just crank Michigan. Just put Michigan Lance on mute.
Ooh, turn him all the way down.
He's like, "Hey, can you guys hear me okay?" Yeah.
Hey, when he was arguing with me yesterday about Tupac, I was about to put him on mute.
Oh, were you?
And he said, "Why am I arguing with Shane?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was funny. That was good. Well, we appreciate Tony and him working through the kinks with us and everybody out there working through the kinks today.
Did you think, and I know you said Sam, you were messing with Sam about the hot take with the 5-game series versus 7 and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Are you more convinced now more than ever that 7 games is the way to go when you see what's happening in the NBA and the NHL?
Absolutely.
Like
7 games is fine. I almost wonder if 7 games should be what Major League Baseball does.
Well, I certainly don't like the wild card one and done.
No, I hate that. You added another team, which is nice.
I get the 5 in baseball, right? You start 2 hammers on the front of a rotation and it breaks right. Like you're basically there. You're basically there. Kinda.
If you start 2 hammers and you go up, say 2-0 in the series, the likelihood of you losing 3 baseball games in a row is definitely less than the
Boston Bruins
than in hockey. Absolutely. Because in hockey, it's such a fast-paced sport, and anything can happen. And no matter how the puck is moving that time or that night on the ice, you may get lucky on a shot. You may have an open breakdown defensively, and boom, now the game's you're playing from behind. You don't really have that in baseball because you have to go around 4 bases rather than just one defender.
Yeah.
So I'm on the side of why not? You already made the season 162 games, and you're just going to shave off 2 in the DS series. What are we doing? Give me more baseball.
No, I'm with you. By the way, do you know who has the longest winning streak in baseball right now?
The longest winning streak. Can you tell me not any division or league, how long the streak is?
5.
5 games.
Tigers?
Rangers.
Absolutely incorrect.
Pirates?
No, they lost.
Cubs?
Oh, the Dodgers.
Correct.
Yeah, because they swept the Cardinals.
And they're hammering the Phillies.
Uh-huh. How about Bryce Harper coming back last night?
Oh, just the DH.
That's okay. I'll tell you what, I was talking to a Phillies fan, and he's like, man, remember, he played through that torn whatever it was all last playoffs, and it didn't seem to bother him at all when he came back. So I don't know if the injury was as crazy as people thought it would be.
Is 13-1 a normal score?
No, it's not normal in baseball.
Let's play 2 for you next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio. Now, one of Damon's favorite games and one of Shane's favorite games.
Is this the game where I have to write stuff down?
Well, maybe not so much Shane.
Yes, Shane. This would be the game.
Yes, it's 2 for you.
All right, let's do it.
Wow.
Hey, welcome back. 2 for You, presented by Dingman's Collisions Center. Dingman's your one-shop. Jeez, words are hard. Your one-stop
just
shop.
ask Shane about the difference between Marcy and Darcy.
Oh, that is true. I mean, maybe the one-shop stop is Marcy's, and the one-stop shop is Dingman's and Darcy's.
Well, we were talking about Charles Schroeder, and Shane was maybe thinking Charles Schultz, so he thought Charlie Brown, which has Marcy, which has a Marcy and not Darcy. Is that too far-fetched?
I think you thought too far into that.
That's called Webinomics.
Oh, is it? A study of Webinomics.
Well, if you go by the game, 2 for You, that's actually 2. So Marcy and Darcy would be 2 for you.
You're so greedy. You can't handle one. Just chill.
You see one in the repair shop, one in the grocery store. All right, Shane. Dingman's Collision Center is the place to go if you have a problem with your car.
You need to get out more, my dude. All right, you got a nice
They work on all makes and models.
They'll even work on your Cherokee Compass. Shane, how was your tire pressure?
Pretty good. I'm gonna go.
Shane wanted me to go eyeball his front 2 tires.
I'm leaving right now.
Eyeball the tires as if you can look at a tire and be like, yeah,
it looks
you're
low,
like 3 below the PSI.
Yeah, talking to a guy that knows nothing about it.
You know what it was?
Shane, they have gauges for that if you were wondering.
Yeah, and
he strikes me as the guy that would carry one in his pocket with his keychain.
And when I cleaned my car out, I set it in the garage, so I hadn't put it back in.
That's a good spot for it.
Dude, he lives in his garage.
Put it back in. Okay, he hadn't heard about that. But
oh yeah, you were gone.
You were living in the garage?
No, Shane loves his garage.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes he just sits out there and admires his garage.
Doesn't shock me one bit.
Not one.
He's got his vape in hand, a lawn chair, looking right inside his garage.
Shane, did you say you got 3 hours in just admiring your purchase, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I was cleaning up the garage and stuff. So.
And he's like, "Ooh, look at that investment I made. Ooh, that beauty."
Let's go to the phones.
Maybe I was wondering where the Easter eggs were at. I don't know.
Let's go to the phones.
You got me looking for Easter eggs.
See, he wasn't here for that one either.
Oh, he showed me some of them. Trent, you are on the show, and you're here for redemption. What's up, Trent?
What's going on, fellas?
Trent, what's up, buddy? How are things?
Things are going well.
Good, good.
Let's try and make them a little better, though.
Yeah, let's try to win you some money to Hail Varsity Club. Who are you choosing?
So, should I give you guys one last chance before I switch it up?
It's up to you. It's up to you.
It depends on, do you want to win or do you want to laugh?
No.
I will go one more time. I'm gonna go Andrew and Dan.
All right,
let's go.
I can't lose 3 times in a row.
We were off. Well, and Andrew's questions were ridiculously hard.
Here we go.
Oh,
there he is.
All right, I need my pen, okay? All right, I'm ready. Let's win Trent some Skrilla.
You sure?
I'm ready.
You positive?
I'm positive.
Let's
man.
go.
I'm feeling good.
All right, a warm item of clothing.
Okay.
A comedian who's also an actor.
Okay.
A color you'd see on the New York Knicks court.
Okay.
Are you okay? Because I'm like between two now. Oh, I shouldn't
I
have
watched
thought.
the NBA.
I shouldn't have thought. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay. An adult cartoon show.
Wow, really? I thought we tried to win him some money. An adult cartoon show?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't feel great about the last one, but
all right, Shane, you ready over there with the buzzer?
Is this the game that I have to write stuff down?
Is this the game I have to write stuff down?
I'm worried.
let's do it. You
I'm
want me to
worried.
do
I'm
3,
worried
2,
about
1?
the Knicks.
I am too a little bit. Shane, go ahead.
All right, 3, 2.
Wait, a warm item.
The question.
A warm item of clothing.
3, 2, 1.
Hat. Yeah. Well,
Did you hear Trent? Jeez.
All right, let's try to run the table here.
A comedian who's also an actor.
3, 2, 1.
Kevin Hart. Ding.
Okay.
I love Kevin Hart.
We got a chance here.
A color you'd see on the New York Knicks court.
3, 2, 1.
Orange. Dang it.
I crossed it out.
Damon.
All right, listen.
He goes, Damon.
Well, why is that
it's
mean?
your fault.
Because
You
of
did
the
cross
writing.
it out.
Because of the writing.
Oh,
Because
that's
Knicks
orange all
isn't.
the way.
Because Knicks is.
Yeah.
So I get
Right.
it, but so this is I overthought it. Trent, full disclosure, because he watches so little NBA, I figured he would just go the blue trim.
I went with the Knicks, like,
No,
how
I know.
it's spelled out.
And I wrote out orange, and then I crossed it out because he's like, oh. No.
Are you saying I got the right answer?
I don't know, but let's try to win him. Let's try to win him. Can he win the $10 still?
He can if we get this one right.
Okay.
An adult cartoon show.
3, 2, 1.
Family
Park.
Guy.
Oh, that was a coin flip.
Dang it.
Coin flip. Trent, what would you have said?
I probably would have ended up. I don't know. Maybe Family Guy, but that was a coin flip between those two. It was
Fudge.
Could have
Definitely
said The
with the goat,
Simpsons,
though.
but if I put adult in front of it, I think adult is more South Park. And he wrote Simpsons.
I crossed out The Simpsons.
Man.
Because a lot of kids watch The Simpsons.
Trent, I'm sorry, man.
all good. Yes, next time it's time to switch it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane and DB next time.
No, I want to read. I can read. Thanks, Trent. I can read.
Here's my. You want my answers?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sweatshirt.
Okay.
Of course.
Eddie Murphy.
Of course. Guy hasn't been in movies in 10 years.
Since 2004.
But okay.
But I love that guy though.
Yeah. No,
I heard him.
Yeah.
And I had Orange.
Okay.
And then I did have Family Guy.
I'm kicking myself over
Orange. Yeah.
I
So
am.
did you okay, this is probably my fault because I said, ooh, there's two.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
probably made
Yes.
you think
Yes.
that I was
Because-
going to go with the easy one
Yeah.
over.
Because I don't know how much NBA you actually watch.
I used to watch the Knicks all the time, especially with Carmelo.
That's
Oh,
why I put Orange first.
I love Carmelo.
So are you just saying that?
I love Carmelo.
Do you know secretly I have a man crush on
Really?
Carmelo?
No, he was my favorite player growing up.
My two favorite players that don't fit my personality at all in basketball, Carmelo Anthony and Vince Carter.
Ooh, Vince Carter. Man, I wish I would have known that. I had a Vince Carter rookie card. I would have just given it to you.
Vince Carter is the only professional athlete that I have a jersey of.
You are a jersey guy.
No, it's a tank top. It's a Raptors thing, and I wore it at the reception when my first marriage at the pool in
Just
Toronto.
admit it. You're a jersey guy. It's cool.
I'm not.
Be one of us.
Shane has his
You're
tucked
fine.
in this morning.
His jersey? What jersey you wearing?
Well, it's not really a jersey, but it is tucked in. It's kind of weird. Shane, what team is that?
This would be your Creighton Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's tucked in.
Oh, look at you.
V-neck pullover.
Okay, questions? Because the last week I was here before I left, you weren't satisfied with the questions. What do you think of the 4 questions there? You like
They
those?
were tough.
Tough, but did you like them?
I liked them.
I feel like there were like 3 answers to everything, maybe. Like 2, 3 answers.
I mean, full disclosure, right? I would probably say coat if I had it to do over again.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said item, like I'm like,
see, that's a problem. I
didn't assume the given because if it's cold, you're gonna wear a coat. So I thought it was gonna either be between hat or gloves.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So that's
I would consider
right,
those
like
I would consider those accessories.
Yeah. See, but here's the thing. I don't overthink the verbiage. Right, like.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Everybody always says though, like they get to a certain time of the year, like, oh, it's sweatshirts. You know, it's sweatshirts.
No, I guarantee nobody's saying sweatshirts.
Amazing Daniel, coat, heart, orange, South Park. So 2 for me, and 3 for me, because I had coat, heart, and orange, and 2 for you. So,
well, at least he would have won $10.
See, I wish there wasn't a delay ever for the phones because I would let the listener play with one of us. But I feel like we would say it and theirs wouldn't match up at the same time.
I don't know what the delay is.
Yeah.
We got to figure it out. Go sit in the car and I'll talk to you.
Sounds great.
Okay.
I'll do that now.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, as we wind this thing down on a Wednesday, it's Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. I'll take a moment and tell you about Dyer Law. If you have felt any personal injury from conversation today, well, you can give them a call at 402-393-7529, or you can visit Dyer Law to chat with trusted professionals about that injury claim, whatever it is. That's Dyer, DYER.law. If you've been hurt for real in a personal injury accident, you can count on Dyer Law to provide you with a helping hand when you need it. Again, that's DYER.law. Hey,
we're 0 for our last 3.
I'm feeling injury about not giving Trent money.
Like we used
and
to
I'm
be,
taking it personally.
We used to be kind of lockstep.
And I think we are. I think we're just in a funk. You know, like the Cardinals right now have a slow start to the season, but they should
That's
get
not
hot.
a slow start. You have 10 wins.
Oh, wait, we're a month in? Oh.
So when's Panic? June 1?
Panic is when Ali Marmol finally stops talking about frustration.
June 1?
Yeah. If they aren't a 500 team by the month of June, you're freaking out.
You're going to have to go 19-9.
Mm-hmm. You're freaking out.
How are you going to be 500 in June or by June 1?
How?
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, you have to bring guys in when they're on base. They are one of the worst teams in all of baseball at driving in runners in scoring position. I think they're, if I give the percentage correctly, I think they're 27%. That's their success rate. And I believe they lead the league in most runners left in scoring position. You have to drive runners in because your pitching isn't good enough to have 2-3 runs on the board. They're not. I mean, Mats gave up 4 runs in the first yesterday.
Yeah, right off the bat. And your bullpen held it down, though, because I think they finished 5-1?
And they're doing okay, right? They're doing fine, but you have to execute offensively, and the Cardinals just aren't. Isn't it funny how I'm kind of saying that pitching really isn't the problem right now, but it's offense? And we're talking about the guy that won MVP last year, the guy that came in third in the MVP race last year. You got Wilson Contreras, who hasn't lived up to his offensive expectation yet. But, I mean, if you look at Yachty and you look at Wilson, they're kind of lateral. The outfield's not producing at all.
And you optioned your guy who will
Jordan Walker,
who will not be Rookie of the Year as they sent him down last week. Quick question: who's the only division in baseball that doesn't have a team with a losing record?
Say that one more time.
Who's the only division in baseball that doesn't have a team with a losing record?
It has to be the AL East.
That is correct. Who is currently in last place in the AL?
They have, how many games have been played? 31?
They're what?
They are 16-15.
Correct. It's very good.
And the Red Sox are 17-14.
You remind me of Kerry Wells, Poppy Montgomery.
How many wins did the Rays have? 24?
You asked me the same question last year, Eddie.
So I think I asked you this when I first got here this morning. It's whatever, 6-something.
That they're one of 2 teams that have single-digit losses.
Correct.
How many losses do they have? Do they really only have like 6-7 losses?
Which one?
Well, if they have 6, then they're 25-6.
They are not 25-6, but they only have 6 losses.
So are they 26-6?
They are 24-6.
Okay. I didn't know if they played one extra game.
They are 24-6. And the only other team with single-digit losses in the division is
Baltimore.
Yeah. Did you see
how Kansas City got up 3-0.
Yes.
Baltimore's good.
They rally.
They're just.
They rally.
It's just a. It's a
good scrappy bunch.
Remember, and I told you we have a guy that listens that's a huge Baltimore fan, so I kind of cheer for those. And I also cheer for the Orioles because of Greg Olson, who went to my high school. His dad was one of my favorite coaches.
Not
of
to be
all time.
confused with the Carolina Panthers, Greg Olson.
No, 2 G's, 1 G. Olson, Olsen. Yes. Greg, my favorite, 2 G's.
GG.
That thing wet.
Well, his curveball was
filthy.
Oh, it's ridiculous. He's a stud too.
Hey, for those that are following sports news when they come through on social media, Jonathan Lawson has committed to Creighton just about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So they are. You think they're done?
I think they're done until they know what Trey and Kalk are doing.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overdo it and then kind of find yourself with your hands tied up.
I'm telling you, sure as I'm sitting here, I think Kalk comes back.
I would absolutely agree.
Trey.
I think Trey comes back too. I think they both.
No,
do.
like my gut. Sure. Like what I would do. I think I know. Trey could get a more favorable grade, like feedback, especially with what's coming out in the draft this year, than certainly Kalk will. And Kalk's pretty measured, right? I said this during the season and it kind of got buried because it was innocuous. I was like, Kalk's the type of guy that'll like look at backup centers in the league and decide if this is a good year.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not one of those guys that is like, hey man, I'm going to, be a starter in the NBA. Like he's looking at roster spots.
And he knows.
The big man, so he knows, right?
He knows where he fits best too.
Yeah. And he's recently engaged. I think life is good.
And why would you leave, right?
And you have one of the best.
Is
you
his
have one of the best.
Still staying at Creighton?
Yeah. And you have one of the best NIL programs in the country.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I think Trey stays, because even if he goes to the league, at best, I see Trey as an early second rounder at best. And if he gets picked in the late second round, or if he goes undrafted, he's obviously coming back.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind.
No, I'm with you.
So that team shapes up to be pretty good. And Lawson's a good addition, as Matt DeMarinis reports, shot 41.3%. I would say from the field, I believe is missing there in his freshman season with Memphis. So a good addition there. And I think he's a really good ball handler in highlights that I've seen. Just really good off the dribble. And he's lengthy and lanky, where he can get to the rim.
Lengthy and lanky.
When he can get to the rim. Meet me at the rim. And like one step from the perimeter.
Hey, that's probably somebody we got to get here in the next couple of weeks, Shane.
Nicholas Allen, according to you?
Yes.
I'll track him down. I'll see if he's at.
So
I don't think he's there.
He and Rude did a impromptu reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say gut reaction because I hate when people do that. My gut reaction. But he and Rude did a deal after Casey Thompson hit the portal. And I know you're overly consumed with my commitment continuum, as was everybody that I ran into yesterday. That's just how I think.
Right.
Like, it's like, are you a philosopher? Yes, I think very deeply. So I think early on in my media career, it was like, man, it's a lot of psychobabble. Like this dude. Yeah. But I'm like wine, right? Like I'm better with age. You're probably not gonna
fine wine.
You're probably not gonna like me right away. But if you just if you give me some time,
that's not true.
I'll start to make some sense.
Sometimes you're like a barefoot. Like you're good right away,
dude. Like the cheap wine.
Yeah,
dude, that sucks.
Well, you can finish the bottle,
unless So I did go through a stretch. I was super broke and didn't want to spend money on alcohol ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through a peach Moscato, a barefoot peach Moscato, and a barefoot
That
apple,
is a cheap fruity wine.
And a barefoot apple. It was like $4.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, golly, man, why does my head always hurt?
I was like, yeah, I probably better grow up.
I believe the alcohol content's still the same. Except you have to drink more of it.
I was
it
just,
tastes so good.
I was just telling somebody yesterday.
It's so cheap.
Collide. It's a song.
Nope.
Because people like get invested in things with like 3 or 4% alcohol, and I'm like,
I just drink.
Why bother? Right? Like, and I'm not advocating, hey,
Right.
like, be high functioning alcoholic, but like 3 or 4%, like, just go grab some Minute Maid or Seneca or whatever, right? Like your nearest local grocer with strawberry lemonade, because you're gonna get the sugars,
right,
that are in those things,
and
you aren't gonna get a buzz if you get pulled over. But conversely, I'd be like Mr. 80 proof. I'm like, if it ain't 80,
I need Everclear.
No, that's a lie. So back to the commitment continuum. So a couple of people wanted me to send like some more information, and we're like all in. Could you see that being like is that something if you were like coaches, or a CEO, you'd like post everywhere
on the
to
wall.
help build your
If I'm Deion Sanders, it's on the wall.
Okay, that's crazy, because remember what we talked about though. Like the coaches have to be. Oh, I think I said this on Benning Bites, so it wasn't me and you, but I said the coaches have to adhere to that too.
Oh yeah.
So the coaches have to adhere to as I'm banging this.
You're just getting the bubbles out.
The coaches have to adhere to the commitment continuum too, because that's like real modeled behavior. But how clean is that as a benchmark to use on where you are in the program? It's tangible. It's not just words.
Right.
Hey, you still resisting? Hey, are you compelled? Hey, are you all, you know what I mean?
It's not just coaches. It's everyday life for these guys too.
It's super portable.
It's what they take home.
Shoot, use it with your family.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? Like, or CEOs or whatever.
Okay, so along the same lines, and we're running out of time today, but tomorrow I'm going to bring up that deep thought that I was put into.
Deep thoughts.
I'm going to think like Matt Rule tomorrow. I said I was going to do it today. I'm going to think like him tomorrow, because DB thinks like Matt Rule all the time, because he's a philosopher. You're a deep thinker.
It's not true.
So you'll just have to wait and see. See you then.